Welcome to the 2024 Warrior Cup Finals. Before we get started, we have a message from one of our sponsors. Please welcome Alicia Codwell from the Royal Caribbean.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elisa Cadwell, and I am here representing Royal Caribbean International. Congratulations to all the competitors. It's been amazing to watch you all and wonderful to meet most of you. Royal Caribbean have 26 ships, soon to be 28, with the launch of Icon of the Seas and Utopia in 2024. Next week, we launch Icon of the Seas for the very first time, and we couldn't be more excited as this is the largest cruise ship in the world. Royal Caribbean Productions cast over 1,600 performers across multiple disciplines per year. Two of our shows feature martial artists, one female and one male. On Wonder of the Seas is Intense, featuring a female artist, and on Symphony of the Seas, a male martial artist. We are very lucky that we have had Hayley Glass grace our stage last year, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have her back in 2024. She brings a new, powerful, cutting edge to our shows, and we are super grateful to have her returning. I'd like to thank AK Warrior Cup for having us here this year, and we hope next year to return as well. Congratulations to everyone, and thank you for having us this year.
The American Karate Association president and vice president and the event directors John Sharkey and Hunter Lyon would like to welcome you to Chicago and the 2024 AKA Warrior Cup Finals. I'm Reed Presley, two-time Warrior Cup winner and your host for the evening. Joining me tonight is the vice president of the Professional Martial Arts Conference and the promoter of the Memphis Open, Joey Perry.
Hey, thank you, Reed. I'm excited to be here. One of my favorite tournaments in the world. I'm honored to call the shots tonight with you guys.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you here. And we have seven-time Warrior Cup winner, Jackson Rudolph.
Reed, as you know, the Warrior Cup is sacred ground for us sport martial artists. This is going to be a special evening. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. And it wasn't too long ago that we were battling it out on that stage for this exact cup. As the longest-running martial arts championship in North America, the Warrior Cup competition pushes athletes to bring their absolute best to the stage in hopes of walking away as one of the few that have earned the title of Warrior Cup winner. Now, Joey, 5 out of the 6 defending champions from last year were in attendance this competition. Do you think we will see any more of them back to defend their title?
That's guaranteed. And as we talked about earlier, it says a lot about the AKA Warrior Cup and the organization of the event that these champions want to continue to come back, just like you guys did,
Yes, sir.
growing up here. So to have 5 of the 6 of last year's champions back is amazing. So to look at the fact that in the finals, we've got Avery Presley, which you have great knowledge of her and
Yes,
how well she's been doing. She's looking strong. She's back in the show tonight, looking great to add to her resume. In addition to that, we have a couple of seniors that I love to brag on. Jeff Doss, Kevin Kowalczyk. Those guys they don't age. They don't get worse with age. They get better with age. I'm glad I'm not competing against them any longer. But then in addition to that, we have Mason Stowell, who is on that Olympic karate path. And the last couple of years, he's been in and out of some of the big events. But when he shows up, he shows out and dominates. So I really look forward to seeing that performance as well as everyone else. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Super excited to see them all. And Jackson, both the men's and women's sparring competition was packed with talent. What should we expect in the competition this evening?
We have an electric evening of point sparring competition ahead of us. We have 2 reigning champions from 2023 trying to defend their Warrior Cups. Katarina Herman and Avery Plowden are going to try to defend those titles. And Avery Plowden is on a quest for history. He is a 4-time Warrior Cup champion trying to climb the record books. He is aiming for a 5th tonight. He is in our Final 4. In the first semifinal, he will match up with Kevin Walker, a Warrior Cup champion himself.
Wow.
And on the other side of the bracket, we've got 2 young, hungry superstars, Alex Mancias and Bailey Be Real Murphy, looking for their first Warrior Cup title. This is going to be fun.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. So there will be a lot of great competition just ahead, and we want to take a minute to thank our finals broadcast sponsors, Century Martial Arts and Royal Caribbean. Before we get started with tonight's competition, let's take a look at some of the action we've already seen this weekend. Congratulations to all in attendance, and we thank you for joining us to make this another exciting and great start to this competition season. At this time, please stand and join us for our national anthem performed by Miss Teen Connecticut, Miss Gabrielle Dunn-Rudolph.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may now be seated. Are you guys ready to get started? No, I said, are you guys ready to get started? All right, we're going to be starting off the 2024 Warrior Cup Finals with a weapons division. Before we get started, I'm going to announce our forms judges for the evening, so please help me welcome them all. From the Central States Karate Championship and NCKA Finals, we have Wayne Cornelius. From Compete Nationals coming by February 23rd through 25th, 2024, we have Muhammad Jahanbash.
Introducing all of our officials
Both
right now.
from the U.S. Open coming up.
We welcome
July
everyone
4th
to the
through 6th,
2024 AK Warrior Cup Finals stream, brought to you by Century Martial Arts and others. We'll be talking about all through the evening. I am Joey Perry, and with me tonight to bring you the broadcast, Mr. Jackson Rudolph. How are you, sir?
Joey, it's a pleasure as always. Like I said in the open, this is going to be a crazy night of competition. We're going to have a lot of fun here in the booth.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to all of these finals, the fights later, everything. We're such karate nerds. So I think we got plenty to talk about tonight.
Absolutely. And you got to be a bit of a karate nerd to be in this booth, but also to tune in. We hope that everybody watching here with us become invested in becoming a karate nerd tonight. Enjoy this action. Pick your favorites. Cheer them on. Root for them. Drop your comments. Let us know who you think's going to win. That's how you truly get invested in this sport, and that's going to make it a whole lot more fun for everybody.
Oh, 100%. And we understand that a lot of people watching at home that'll be tuning in through the night or watching the entire show, maybe not everyone is as familiar with what they're looking at. So we will be doing our best to explain and slightly over-explain a few things and make sure everybody's educated, having a good time, know what you're looking at. And we're getting right to the action. Our first division is 14-17 NASCA Overall Grand Championship for the Black Belt boys. And of course, our first competitor out of Houston, Texas. He's 17 years old, representing Team Competitive Edge. Welcome, Mr. Philip Brumet.
And Joey, this event is going to be a great example of what the North American Sport Karate Association, you'll hear us call it NASCA all night,
Yes.
is all about. We're going to see a duel between two elite 14 to 17-year-old competitors doing what's called CMX, or the Creative Musical Extreme discipline. That's what Philip Brumet is doing right now against the traditional of Wasim Driddy, as Philip Brumet opens with a huge beach whisk to the cork.
Beautiful, and that's what he's known for. When you talk about the different competitors throughout the night, we'll talk about their highlights and what they're better at or what they're known for, signatures. And Philip is known to be such a high flyer and innovator with the kamas.
Brumet, a Warrior Cup runner-up in forms last year. He is back this year with a vengeance, trying to set himself up for a Warrior Cup berth in the weapons division with a win in this overall grand championship. Beautiful blind catch of the kama behind the head, right into the tricking combination.
Well, and that's it. He has no stop button, really. Everything flows. He's definitely one of those modern competitors with the combinations and the flow, and he's so powerful. He's so fun to watch.
All gas, no brakes into that last flip you saw. That was a backflip off of 1 foot with 2 twists. We call that a double cork. Now he's right back into the manipulation with the kama. Nice double throw into the Webster with a half twist. Webster being a front flip off of 1 foot.
Beautiful performance so far from Philip. We'll try not to talk over the complete performances of all the athletes, but we do want to educate, we do want to highlight, and make sure everyone enjoys and understands a little bit more of the story.
And the entertainment speaks for itself as Philip Brumet with a double spin catch brings an electric kama form to an end. Philip Brumet wants his shot at a Warrior Cup.
Man, that was an excellent performance, and as you mentioned, not only is he a NASCAR World Champion, he's been a ProMac National Champion, regional from Texas, great competitor. All right, in his competition for the Montreal, Quebec, he is 15 years old, also Team Competitive Edge, and I had the honor of actually officiating a few of his divisions this weekend. One of the top young competitors, Wasim Dridi. And once again, we talked about it at the top of the show, but we really appreciate all of our sponsors for the evening, and none more so than Century Martial Arts Supply.
So as Wasim takes the stage, you'll see a change of pace here. The traditional performances you'll see this evening often will not have music playing, but some athletes choose to choreograph their traditional forms to music. Wasim going to let his intensity speak for itself.
And if they do choose to use music, part of the ruling, part of the judging and qualification there is that the synchronization, the choreographed movements with the music and flow, there's a lot to that. So you'll see some competitors do better than others with that.
And Joey, the music to my ears right now is hearing Wasim pop those bow strikes up against his body. The leading edge of the weapon is what's doing the striking on an imaginary attacker for the purposes of performance. But anytime that you strike with a bow, the back end of the bow is going to come back and hit the ribs or hit some part of the arm that's going to take that residual impact. So the judges listen to the sound of that bow popping up against the body as a way to judge power between competitors.
That's right. You know a thing or two about bow work. So I think we trust you. Great. Wasim, known as one of the most powerful competitors in his age grouping. I mean, very strong, obviously.
Absolutely.
And dynamic athlete, great performer. Look at that intensity from Wasim Dridi. And throughout the stream, you will also hear the in-house. Hopefully you'll hear the crowd going crazy. You'll hear, again, Mr. Reed Presley at the stage doing the hosting in-house. So he's doing a great job, and he always brings his game, his A game.
So judging this evening, we have a 7-judge panel full of NASCA North American Sport Karate Association World Tour promoters and others who are well experienced within the circuit. They're going to be entering their scores into the computers using the Mat Action scoring system. And then those scores will be uploaded one at a time so that we can see what the total score for these competitors are. 9.99 is typically a winning score. 9.98 for second place, 7 for third place, and so on.
Looks like Philip received the lion's share of the 9s on that call. So we know what to expect for Wasim. Since there are only 2 competitors, obviously it will be the opposite. Did a great job. We have officials, as you mentioned, from all over the country, and throughout the evening we'll be talking about them or talking about their events and things that we want to encourage people to support and go to for the work. And right there, your results of what you just saw plus the math. Mr. Philip Brumet is your 14-17 NASCA overall black belt boys weapons champion.
And with that win, like I said, Philip will continue his revenge trail looking for a Weapons Warrior Cup this year. He just qualified for the Weapons Warrior Cup final. We'll be right back after a word from Century Martial Arts.
The next division would have been the 14-17 NASCA overall
Looks like we've got, we're going to make sure we give Miss Presley credit before the spot there from Century. We appreciate them. So what he's announcing, Miss Avery Presley, I'm not sure if she's going to be coming up on stage or not. Looks like she might be, but she actually won both of the earlier 14 to 17 NASCAR Grand Championships for the girls' weapons and qualified her to go into the final. So she's seeded into that. So not performing, but they did announce that. And now. Right. Thanking Century Martial Arts Supply. Those guys are fantastic. Great customer service, great equipment, and we appreciate their support always.
Absolutely. So many important role players that make what we do in this sport possible. We're so thankful for all of those that help make this sport what it is and continue to grow the sport and try to spread it to a larger audience.
Takes all of us. I think we got a shout out for the Jackson Rudolph signature bow from Century. Speaking of. That's right. Absolutely.
Appreciate the shout out from Reed, old friend and rival of mine. The sport karate nerds in the audience listening to us understand that rivalry.
Yeah, they do. They do. I had a front row seat to watching you guys grow up with that and then into adults, so it's pretty awesome. All right, so what Reed is introducing now here in-house, he's explaining how that works. This is the Korean Forms Challenge, and this would be the Women's Korean Form Challenge in particular. We have 2 competitors that will be coming to the stage, and this is the final round of that. So what can we tell the audience at home about the Korean Forms Challenge and why that kind of differs from what else they might see?
Absolutely, and a big reason that NASCA started to introduce the Korean Forms Challenge, and also a great initiative by NASCA this year, introducing a Korean division for the junior competitors, so that those Taekwondo and Tang Soo Do stylists have more of a platform at these events. But in this specific Korean challenge, the Korean style forms you're going to be watching, it is all about the kicks. Great stances, powerful punches as well, all of the blocks that you would see within those styles, but the kicking is often the common denominator between athletes, especially in this unique head-to-head format.
And immediately, visually, you can see that this is different. We have 2 competitors on the mat at the same time. And if you are new to martial arts competition, you might not have ever seen this or thought that that could be possible since they're not fighting, they're just performing. So the judges are having to watch both competitors at the same time. And what can we tell the audience about what are they looking for beyond what you mentioned, the generalization of it? What do you think is going to distinguish these 2 competitors?
Well, like I said, I think the kicking is huge. And Lily McGuire in particular, I watched her earlier in the elimination. She is a fantastic kicker. The Gabrielle Rudolph, of course, my wife, full transparency for the crowd. She's got some good kicks as well. So that's going to be the common denominator between these 2 is the kicks are going to be paramount in trying to get a win. Outside of that, there's a lot of strategy that goes into Korean Challenge.
Oh, beautiful, ladies.
The pacing of the form itself is important because you don't want to be the first person to finish, because then the judges can shift their attention entirely to your competitor, and they might be able to end with an exclamation point that seals the deal.
Understood. And for those at home watching, the competitor on your left of your screen, far side now, is Miss Lily McGuire from Georgia. She's 18 years old, representing Kick Team. They always have solid Taekwondo competitors for years. And Miss Gabrielle Rudolph, as you mentioned, she's 24 years old, representing Team Paul Mitchell, is on the right. She made a quick change. So again, as I uttered out loud, I couldn't help it as you were talking a moment ago. Beautiful kicks from both of these ladies, and you prepared everyone to see that. So excellent job. They both have had great pace here. Being an Ernie Reyes West Coast kid, I always appreciate the Korean stylists as well.
And what a
Look at
finale
that.
with both competitors
Look at that.
finishing their pumse, the Korean word for form,
Yes.
at the exact same time. You saw the Gaebek on the left
Yes.
and the Ulji on the right. What a matchup between these two. We got to wait and see what the judges decide.
Look at you. I can appreciate you knowing those patterns. Outstanding. All right, here are the scores. You can hear the overplay. Oh, he's going to do overall. There you go. We have the overall vote with the left or right. And looks like Miss Lily McGuire from Fortson, Georgia, representing Kick Team, got the edge on the judges' vote there. So congratulations to both of these ladies for making the final. And a shout out to Miss Mary Amato, also former champion, giving out the awards there, helping us to stay straight. Great job, ladies.
And like I said at the top of the division, it was the kicks. Lily McGuire proved herself this weekend. She has arrived as an elite kicker in this league. And the fantastic kicking is what pushed her over the top to win that split decision over Gabrielle Rudolph. So when Gabrielle and I get back home, we know we're going to be in the dojo working on. Or dojang for Korean
Dojang
challenge.
in Korean, that's right. Look, I love it. Good job, sir. Awesome. All right, so what in-house, what Mr. Reed Presley is announcing and what you will see coming onto the stage and some of the graphics there. We have the Underbelts, the color belt students. They also have a chance to win a big prize at a big event. So they have their divisions just like the black belt competitors, many of the same opportunities. And what the AKA Warrior Cup team decided to do is give many Warrior Cups. You see the huge, beautiful Warrior Cups up there for the black belt competition. And you're going to watch as some of the assistants and judges bring up the mini cups. So those are for all of our underbelt competitors from beginner all the way through advanced, including adults. So we have, I believe, 7 of the mini cups, and they represent all the different ages, and they're separated in competition just like the black belts. There's weapons and forms as far as the overalls. So very slowly, these competitors are going to make their way up to the stage, and we're going to announce their names and give them some love. I don't have where all of the competitors are from, but we want to make sure we give them proper love. I did get to see all of these finals earlier, and our future looks great. Just FYI. So, you know, we're all about a big black belt show, but there is no black belt show without the underbelts and without more people being involved. So everybody watching at home, if you're an underbelt, you're a beginner, you're a black belt, you've never competed, you look at an event like this and you think, I can never win, or these people are too good. You have to start somewhere, and everybody can do it, and there is an opportunity for every level. So we invite you to come and check that out if you haven't. And on stage, that's being represented. We have beginners, 9 and under, all the way up through our adults. Look at those guys. So Matias Godoy and Thomas Maglito, those were our 2 9 and under winners. Our 13 and under with that categorization, I'm sorry. And then Channing Gear and Preston Turk were our 10 to 13 age groupings. And then Edsel Torres and Jack Rebel represented the 14 to 17 underbelt winners. And Joseph De Hoyos, and I know he's from Texas, and he's helping us with the cowboy hat, by the way. Love it. Good job, sir. Those are our Mini Cup 2024 winners. And that event is also sanctioned by the Professional Martial Arts Conference, PROMAC for short. And we really appreciated all the support this year, and we look forward to growing those underbelt divisions and bringing more competition to the table. Here we go. They're a little bigger than the competitors. I love it. Look at that. Yes.
A big round of applause from the audience on that one. And Joey, it is no overstatement to say that we are watching the future of the sport on stage right now. We have already seen in the brief history of the Mini Warrior Cup for the underbelt, we've already seen a prior Mini Warrior Cup winner winning a Warrior Cup. Darren D-Stacks Payne, as an underbelt, won a Forms Miniature Warrior Cup and then came back years later and won the Men's Sparring Warrior Cup Championship. So it truly is the future of the sport.
100%, sir. We'll talk more about that through the evening when we have an opportunity to give them a little bit more love. So what we have coming to the stage now, and again, through the evening, if any names are mispronounced or any of that, we always want to put that out there. We apologize. We try our best to get that correct. So we have the synchronized team's overall championship to the stage, and Team Junkan. And this team, I don't have all of their names, although I do know all those competitors there. You guys are in for a great performance here, and it doesn't seem like they're going to use music, so we're going to get to hear that power.
And to synchronize 3 athletes at the same time certainly adds more difficulty to this traditional performance, being that they are representing Team Wankan. These are all students that have been under the tutelage of Joey Castro, a Warrior Cup champion himself who's graced this stage many times.
Absolutely.
In the back right of the shot, we've got Jenna Grochow. Opposite her on the left is Amber Rutherford, and then Cameron Close in the front.
There you go. There are benefits to us being at the events and knowing the competitors, right? That helps. Hey, these athletes are at the top of their divisions individually. You know, and like you said, working with other world-class current and former athletes. Beautiful timing. It's hard with 2, and 3 is just another level, right?
And we've seen some Korean traditional performances already this evening in the Korean Challenge. Now looking at the Japanese, you're going to see much less focus on kicking, a greater focus on the timing, the breathing, the power, lots of hand techniques, lots of cat stances and horse stances in particular. Just a very different vibe that you get from a Japanese kata as opposed to a Korean pumse.
That's right.
You'll also notice a difference between the traditional weapons and traditional forms performances. In the North American Sport Karate Association, it's very common for the traditional weapons forms to be a little bit more on the contemporary side, only containing traditional techniques, but competitors doing their own choreography going at a faster pace. Whereas in these Japanese traditional forms divisions, competitors are going to try much more to capture the spirit of the true traditional essence of that kata.
Classical style, you would say, yes. Yeah, and I like that, and they both have value, and they're both fun and entertaining as long as you understand the difference and the reasoning.
And that's the great thing about sport martial arts overall, is that this is a sport where any martial artist of any background can come and show off their skills.
Please do. Fantastic performance from Team Wankan. I like that. I would miss an opportunity if I didn't tell you fantastic performer on the left, Miss Amber Rutherford, was an overall grand champion at the Memphis Open this past year. So congratulations, ma'am. Great job, guys. Great performance. And you know a thing or two about our next team, sir. Team Paul Mitchell to the stage.
Team Paul Mitchell actually had 2 synchronized teams qualify for this 4-team final. However, one of them was Ben Jones and Esteban Tremblay in the CMX Creative Musical Extreme Weapons Synchronized Division. Esteban and Ben and Dawson actually all together made the decision that in order for Esteban to be able to rest up for his upcoming individual Warrior Cup final, that Ben and Esteban as a team would bow out, and they would leave it to Ben and Dawson to try to capture the title for Paul Mitchell here tonight.
Fair enough.
And I love the old school decision here from Ben and Dawson to go for no music, synchronize everything with small silent cues. Really show off their power and let the crowd make the music.
Oh. Looks like Dawson may have accidentally injured himself upon stepping out. No?
That was
a little reset.
An interesting situation, as I didn't really see what happened that caused Dawson to go into that position. It's going to be an interesting discussion backstage to kind of figure out what exactly happened on that exchange.
Absolutely.
There definitely did look as if there was a mismatch in the choreography there, maybe a miscommunication in their planning. But the hesitation there from Dawson was pretty uncharacteristic, and he doesn't, you know, it looked like he was injured, and now it seems that they're continuing.
Yeah, that's he doesn't look injured now, but at the moment, without knowing what happened,
Absolutely.
it looked like maybe he, you know, I mean, it happens in a
Tweaked
split
a
second.
knee or right.
Absolutely, with this kind of dynamic athleticism, it happens. So, but yeah, I mean, they've continued and they look amazing for what they're doing. They look amazing, but something happened.
Yeah. So they bring together a nice little show there for us, and any aspirations of winning that title, unfortunately, with the mistake at the beginning, will go out the door. But we transition. We'll just have a showdown between traditionalists vying for this title.
Absolutely. And we all know, if you do know, that both of those athletes are world class and will be back and have no problem, I'm sure, next time. Here we go. The next and last competitor group in this division Team Showtime. And this is made up of Michael and Cody Molina. They are out of Texas and have been competitors on the open circuit for quite a few years now. And they also come up through traditional ATA Taekwondo originally. And they have broadened their abilities and broadened their training and do a lot of different things. And you see that in performances like this sync that they're going to perform. Despite their traditional background, they may decide to go and lean on a little bit of a different traditional style. And you work with both of these athletes occasionally, correct, sir?
Absolutely. So I know these athletes very well. They both have an incredible work ethic. They push each other at home. And I want to congratulate them on, we recognize the new team that they're representing here, Team Showtime. They have decided to move on from being a part of any official sport karate team, and they're going to represent their own brand. So be on the lookout for more updates from the Molina family about those projects coming ahead.
Well, their father, Andy Molina, is all about progression, and I love his energy and support of the sport. They're also promoters on the professional martial arts circuit. They have one of the events in San Antonio and one in Austin every year. We'll talk a little bit more about those later, but the Molina family are fantastic sport karate supporters, so we appreciate them. And lucky for them, they have two world-class athletes right now doing their thing.
And a little fight scene between the brother-sister duo. We'll have to ask mom and dad how many times that gets replayed at home.
Probably when training isn't even on the schedule. I'm sure. Raising a brother and sister, having two of them at home, I've found out that the fights are not always on schedule. So they've done a great job throughout the pattern mixing up the synchronization of the different traditional moves and the usage of the weapon and the energy. But then also, like you said, putting in a little bit of play, because there is a percentage of the form that can be different, which, of course, gives you creativity. So great job from the Molinas and Team Showtime. Congratulations for making the final. And each of the teams will make their way back to the stage for scoring throughout the evening for all of the normal divisions and cup finals are going to be just like we've explained earlier, with the 9.9 down to perhaps a 9.6 tonight, depending on the division, representing 7 different official scores. So as he calls these out, we do like to let you hear the scores or help reread the scores. If they decide to just read the overall and the overall winner, we'll be on that with you. Look at Michael Molina, a little Showtime there.
The ultimate showman, one of the smallest competitors on the circuit, Michael Molina, always trying to get the crowd into it. Let's have a look at the scores for Team Wonkan.
9.99, 9.98, 9.99, 9.99, 9.99.
Wow. And I am not the best at math, but I think they're going to take it.
Don't think we got to whip out the calculators on that one. So
Nope,
congratulations to Team Wonkan on the winning scores. We will hear some unanimous 9.97s for Ben Jones and Dawson Holt following the mishap.
And we've got Team Showtime, Molinas, 9 point. Ooh, they did pull a 9. So they did pull one 9.99. Great job, guys, and 9.8. And at this level, again, depending on who's watching at home, making the finals, making the stage, you've already won multiple things. You're obviously one of the best of the best. So you're going to see these athletes, unless they hurt themselves or mess up, they're going to be so happy for each other, and they're going to understand, there's another event and be proud of what they have accomplished.
And another big shout out to Cody and Michael for having a combined age of like 25?
Maybe.
And the team that won is a bunch of 25-year-olds.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So great of them to be such young athletes and making it to this level, performing on this stage. And a huge congratulations to a beautiful traditional kata among the three-way team of Team Wonkan.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Great job, guys. I get to judge each of those athletes individually quite often, and they're always on point. So great job, guys. All right. So we are going to continue to move along. The show goes on, and we keep moving. So we're going to do our best to make sure that as Reed Presley, again, in-house, he may have announcements, may have things. That'll give us the opportunity to give you guys some other information. But we're going to go right to the next division. This is the Junior Weapons Warrior Cup Final. This is sponsored by Royal Caribbean, one of their top sponsors. Appreciate Royal Caribbean. Our first competitor to the stage for this final, she's 12 years old, representing Team Revolution out of Union, New Jersey, Miss Amanda Duarte.
To reach this Warrior Cup final, all 4 of these competitors have already won overall grand championships. At most events on the World Tour, their weekend would be over and they'd be going home happy that they won the highest honor at the event.
Yes.
At the AK Warrior Cup, this is a whole new level for one of the most prestigious events, not just in all of sport karate. This is one of the most prestigious awards in all of sports. For a martial artist, this is the green jacket at the Masters. This is a Lombardi trophy. That is the significance of this award to these athletes.
I agree. Growing up in the sport and thinking about the top awards and top events, this is one of the top in the world that you are the most proud to attend, compete at, and if you get lucky enough to be in this final, you know you've done something.
And Amanda Duarte, one of the 2 athletes in this division that historically is always going to be fighting an uphill battle. This division is a 17 and under division. So the 2 13 and under overall grand champions always having to go up against the big kids. There have been times in history that it's happened and the little kids pull off an upset. Amanda Duarte trying to do that right now with her traditional sword form.
Sharp competitor, again, out of New Jersey. Have been watching her the last few years, growing up through the divisions, getting stronger, improving her game, whether it be weapons, empty hand forms, traditional kata. Those are some of her specialties. Very talented athlete, great family support. So she does continue to get better. And moving into this type of final with these other athletes, being the second youngest athlete in this final, that's tough. Great
Just
technique.
saw a nice jump 360 into the horse stance, followed up by a nice side kick. Traditional weapons, always important to find those subtle ways to show the judges some difficulty. Showing off balance, leg strength, the kicking, even though you're wielding a weapon. Those are all ways to try to match up with some of these extreme competitors and show the judges that what you're doing is difficult as well. So good choreography by Amanda Duarte and her coaches to make sure that she's showing that off.
Absolutely. All right, she's finishing up. Great job. Very solid from Amanda, as always. Very consistent competitor.
We've seen her on this Warrior Cup stage a few times already.
Man, at 12 years old, that's pretty awesome. All right, so as Reed's introducing our next competitor from Team Competitive Edge, he's back to the stage, 17 years old, from Houston, Texas, Philip Brumet.
If you've been with us from the beginning, you saw him earn his spot in this Warrior Cup final by winning the 14-17 Boys Weapons Overall Grand Championship. He now takes the stage to finish the job.
All right, Philip is making the most of the 15-second introductory time he has there. A little bit of walk on the stage, a little bit of crowd play. So it looks like Philip has a little bit of a miscue with his
It's like
music.
a little confusion from Philip over the music.
All right, so they're going to do a restart. And I know just from having some of the notes for the show that when the competitors come in to bow in, they are needing to bow into the ring and then the music cues. And a lot of times they're used to being able to introduce themselves to the judges completely. So sometimes that could throw you off a little bit from, a show type thing. So I believe that might have been a little bit of what happened there, but that's okay. They're going to do a restart, and Philip will wow the crowd.
And there's that signature butterfly twist into the corkscrew. Again, that corkscrew backflip with one full twist, taking off of one foot. And Joey, it's interesting the rule that is being implemented here where the competitors are being given the 15 seconds before the music starts automatically. It's important that other competitors that are watching Philip right now take note of that so that they don't have the same confusion at the beginning of their form. But regardless,
yes.
Now we're into this routine from Philip.
And he's bringing it. That doesn't bother him. There's things like that would certain people. I mean, he drops there, but I can assure you it wasn't because his mind was on the music earlier. It happens.
And that is just heartbreaking to make it to a Warrior Cup final and then miss a release like that. And that's for any athlete that takes the stage tonight, and we see a mistake like that.
Ah,
All of the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into getting ready for a moment like this. An important thing to note, a drop like that does not take away from making it all the way through, winning the overall grand championship, all of the skills that he was able to display here tonight. Certainly unfortunate to not be able to give yourself a chance in that Warrior Cup round, but it doesn't take anything away from what Philip has already proven in his junior career and in this tournament at the AK Warrior Cup.
Absolutely. It's like Shaun White falling on a 900. It happens.
Absolutely.
It happens. But he's still the best in the world. So Philip is certainly one of the best in the world. Great job, sir. And the third competitor, again, moving along, Mr. Michael Molina. He's out of San Antonio, Texas, just 11 years old. And you watched him with his sister, Team Showtime.
And in some ways, Philip Brumet, almost like an older brother to Michael Molina. And you see Michael take the stage, a fire in his eyes. It's almost like he wants to get revenge for his older brother, right? He wants to avenge Philip and come out here. He's like, I want to put on a show. I want to bring this Warrior Cup back to Texas.
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, a lot of these athletes, a lot of us are, we're friends. We want to beat each other. We want to help each other. But you want to lift each other up, or you want to go get that for your buddy, your teammate, your coach. And there's a lot of that, and that's positive. And Michael, being a Texan, being somebody that works with Philip, I can guarantee you he wants to come get it. You're right. And he's going for it.
Some nice bow tricks going into the full twist. Backflip taking off of 2 feet as opposed to 1 for the corkscrew. And a Michael Molina bow form will always come down to the last trick. There is no telling what he's ready to throw. There's a triple.
Nice.
Will that do it? No, he's still going. He's got more for us after the triple. Full twist back to the corner. What's he going to set up? 3.5.
Nice
3 spins and a catch behind the back for Michael Molina, and he's still going. He can't stop.
I love it. I don't think he's going to stop. He's going to take his full time, and he should.
Oh, he went for 4.
Oh, on the quad.
Michael Molina just attempted to land a triple, a 3.5, and a quad, and then he nails that one all in one form in a Warrior Cup final. Talk about going for broke.
You might as well. Youngest competitor on the stage. What do you have to lose?
Oh, my goodness.
Evidently, he understood the
I
assignment.
can't believe what I just saw.
It was absolutely awesome. Great job, Michael.
And so now Philip Brumet and Michael Molina out of the race for the Warrior Cup, but they go down guns a-blazing.
A performance like that is really a win.
Absolutely.
I'm not doing, everybody's a winner. That's not what I'm saying. There's no, you want to win this. You want to win this. But you do understand you're building that lore, that legend, that feeling, that crowd. It's going to benefit you.
Absolutely.
And
now we pivot to our final competitor of this event, Avery Presley, who we announced earlier in the show was the winner of both of the divisional grand championships for traditional and creative musical extreme weapons. And now all the pressure is on her. Amanda Duarte landed a clean traditional sword form. There were 2 drops. All Avery needs to do is hit this form to give herself a chance at a 2nd Warrior Cup in a row. Last year in forms, this year she could take home weapons.
And out of the gate, as usual, she's lightning. Clean, fast, great posture, great timing on those releases, bringing that energy.
And not pulling anything back. Still went for that 360 box cutter, then a flick behind the back. Throwing all of her bow releases. Here's a big signature one, the blind catch right into the swing. And that will do it for Avery Presley, coming for a Warrior Cup, this time in the weapons division. Has she done enough?
Very possible. So now you're in this situation. We talk about this a lot on these broadcasts. Some know, some do not. But the differential between, looking at the traditional versus the creative, musical extreme type form that has more of the fancy, simple, fancy moves there. So you have Amanda that's going to get a score, and then you'll have Avery that will get a score. I believe both of the boys will get a 5 score, just as part of scoring for the finals, representing a drop. But it's really who gets the 9s and 8s between the ladies here.
The Team Revolution faithful chanting for Amanda.
Almost there. Let's make some noise one more time.
All right, I love it. Crowd enjoyed that. The ladies brought it. We have the huge, beautiful Warrior Cup being brought to the stage.
For Amanda Duarte.
So here's Amanda's scores.
9.98,
9.98 across the board, meaning all 7 judges gave the 9.98. So a total of 49.9 for Amanda Duarte. Great job, ma'am.
And for Mr. Philip Remay,
And now, again, the judges will give the customary 5 across the board for the drops, just for computation.
And as we get through some of the ceremonial scoring here for Philip and Michael, we know with the unanimous 9.98s for Amanda Duarte, we know that Avery Presley is about to be our champion. A truly historic feat. Not only did Avery Presley become the first female to win a Junior Warrior Cup in many years by winning forms last year,
Yes.
to go back-to-back in different divisions, now
big.
coming back and winning the Weapons Warrior Cup, she may be the first young lady in history to achieve this feat.
I don't remember another one, so you're going to make me look that up. I'm really glad that this happened and she made the finals so that it gives us one more thing to figure out, right? Absolutely love it. Congratulations, Miss Avery Presley from Lebanon, Tennessee. She's just 15 years old and representing Team Paul Mitchell Karate.
and Elisa Caldwell from Royal Caribbean.
So Royal Caribbean, again, our top sponsor for this event. Represented on stage with Hunter Lyon and Grandmaster Sharkey, the promoters of the AK Warrior Cup. So all of those athletes, so it's great. Great Junior Weapons Cup final, and Avery Presley just brought it, didn't hold back, as you said, could have played it, you know, if you, the tradition, maybe I'll play it a little safe. She didn't play it safe.
Absolutely, and that's something you got to tip your cap to, is any competitor that in that situation, after watching back-to-back drops, can go out there and just go for everything, do all of the normal releases that she would typically do in her bow form. So a ton of respect to Avery Presley for that. Often tonight, Joey, you will see competitors overcome with emotion when they win their Warrior Cups. Avery Presley, in some respects, been there, done that. She got a Warrior Cup last year. Of course she was happy.
Right.
But the other aspect of this is that you did have those 2 drops. Avery is a true competitor.
Right.
She wants to beat everybody at their best. She didn't want there to be any drops in this division with her walking out as the Warrior Cup champion. But either way, it will be written in the history books. Avery Presley is the 2024 Junior Warrior Cup champ.
And earned every moment of that. Great job, man. All right, and we're moving along. That was the Junior Weapons Cup. Now we're moving to the Adult Weapons Warrior Cup final. This is sponsored by Mad Action. And Mad Action does all of our scoring system for the tournaments and much, much more. So if you're out there, you're running a tournament, you're running an event of any type, you're needing new software or a trusted vendor, I'd love for you guys to reach out to Mad Action.
In a stacked division
things.
here in the
Yes.
Adult Weapons Warrior Cup final. Haley Glass,
Oh.
a little mishandling on that finger roll. Nakama goes tumbling to the ground. She takes herself out of it early.
And our first competitor on stage, as you mentioned, is Haley Glass. She's out of Orlando, Florida. She's going to continue to perform for the audience. And in a way, I like that. You know, sometimes, you know, the mindset, well, we'll bow out and be respectful of the moment. But in the finals, we do enjoy the show.
Absolutely.
And when you have a world-class athlete like Haley, who is one of the top performers in the world, who is also performing cruise ships, hence the tie-in there. She is phenomenal to watch, as you saw the end there. Thank you, Haley, for continuing to give us a little bit more there.
And even extra respect to Haley for finishing that performance.
Yes.
She's currently nursing a knee injury that she sustained in training leading up to this event a little under a week ago. So the fact that she continued to perform for us is a special treat, as she'll be returning tonight in the Forms Warrior Cup final.
She's so strong. I love watching her and have enjoyed over the years. So we'll see her back, and hopefully at as close to 100% as she can be. And next to the stage, from Montreal, Quebec, 19 years old, and he was one of the Cup winners last year, representing Team Paul Mitchell, Esteban, Air Canada, Tremblay.
A winner of the Adult Forms Warrior Cup from 2023, Esteban Tremblay, known as a weapons competitor, and he wants to add a Weapons Warrior Cup to his trophy case.
Well, he's one of the top young adult athletes that I always know is going to be in the mix. He brings it from a technique point of view, performance point of view, power, and just execution point of view typically. So I expect a fantastic performance here.
His trademark speed and intensity evident in the opening section, right into the tricking. Cartwheel into a big full.
Ooh.
Catching the bow between the fingers and under the leg into the release. Here comes a big double, catches it on the backside.
And great balance and poise on that catch, you know, for the little superhero pose.
And some signature swagger as he adjusts his hair in the middle of that release. Getting to the closing moments here. Double spin on the zero gravity, throwing the bow from behind the back, and a fist to the air for Esteban Tremblay, making his Warrior Cup bid.
He nailed that. Loved it. Again, as we talked about him coming out, he showed that. So he made us look smart. I love it. Great job, Esteban. And I would miss the opportunity if I didn't mention his father, Eric Tremblay, who's also a world champion, world-class competitor, great, intense athlete. So shout out to him and the entire Tremblay family. Great job, Esteban. That was fantastic. But it doesn't get any easier. Next up to the stage, Mr. Jake Presley. He's from Lebanon, Tennessee, 21 years old, representing Team Paul Mitchell. Yes, that was his sister earlier. Those at home wondering that may not know. Jake is going to be doing traditional bow, it would seem.
A signature form for Jake. This exact form is what won him the Warrior Cup last year, his 6th career Warrior Cup. Jake Presley stands one shy of the all-time record for Weapons Warrior Cup wins at 7. A win tonight would have him tied for that top spot.
Now, I normally wouldn't put you on the spot, but since you mentioned it, do we know who he would be tying with?
Joey, just because you have to bring it up, he would tie me. But records are made to be broken, and if anybody was to tie my record, my old sync partner would be a good one.
I think that's the right attitude, my friend. Love it. And Jake Presley is a competitor that, and a lot of the competitors I've had the privilege of watching growing up, so I love to speak on that from an instructor, parent, or just someone who's watched the evolution of these athletes. So hopefully that resonates. Jake is an athlete I've watched since he started martial arts, and to see the progression into the powerful, dynamic performer that he is, the quality martial artist that he is exciting. So again, with traditional, he's not using music, but he's creating his own. So enjoy.
And one of the things that makes Jake so tough to beat is his intensity. He becomes a character when he performs this traditional bow routine. You can see it in his eyes. It's different than what you watch with other competitors.
He makes you believe he's fighting all the invisible ninjas around him, because that's what we're doing. We're executing pretend fighting, so to speak, and I believe it. That intensity is fantastic. Great power.
That was a new swing combination that Jake just re-choreographed into this form. Smart strategic decision, knowing that he's going to need to find some ways to step it up in this difficult field for the adult Warrior Cup final.
And competing against creative, musical, extreme, it is more, those moves are more difficult on a physical basis. So as you said, you've got to bring something and raise your level. Jake always does that. You can count on that. One of the top performers in the world.
One more balance move for Jake, followed by a big jump. Little knee spin for a little extra added flair. And that will do it for Jake Presley, trying to write his name in the history books with a possible 7th Weapons Warrior Cup.
Well, that would be amazing. Jake, great job again. Mentioning earlier, he's just 21 years old, from Lebanon, Tennessee. But I know that he's been spending quite a bit of time on the West Coast in the stunt world. So more power to him there. And I think we'll probably hear more about a few of those things later. Next up to the stage, this is our 4th competitor. We will have 5 in this particular division. He's from Virginia. He's 40 years old, representing Team Revolution, Mr. Jeff Doss.
Man, I wish I could hear what Jeff just yelled at the crowd. Affectionately known as Sushi, Jeff is a veteran of the game and a fan favorite. NBL, National Black Belt League, NASCA, International Sport Karate Association, world champion in multiple different leagues, you name it. Jeff Doss has been on those stages and been in these big moments.
You mentioned it, and he is. I have competed with and against Jeff back in the day, and he's still at it. And I'm always impressed with his technique, his intensity, his slight creativity, and not only for himself, but he's a great coach, and he's a great instructor. He owns his own studio there, and just does a fantastic job with Grand Slam. And look at those kicks and that balance. Beautiful, Jeff.
It
Great
would
job.
not be a Jeff Doss form without some elite kicking skills.
And there's a little creativity with playing to the audience and a little bit of the acting there. Love that. From the 40-year-old, no less.
And then this combination in particular, so impressive. Full extension on the leg in front kick position. Now manipulating the kamas, and watch this. A nunchuck comes out of the uniform. Sushi bringing out all the stops.
My
Huge
goodness.
side kick, and Jeff Doss made sure he got that last guy
Wow.
and sets the room on fire.
Did you believe he was also fighting Invincible Ninjas? I did.
I think he got them all too.
Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo, they were all with him. I love it. Great creativity from Jeff Doss. That was a perfect demonstration of what we would say a creative weapons form should and could be. Yes.
That
Great
was
diversion.
creative weapons with a capital C and the word creative underlined.
100%. Great job, Mr. Doss. Very impressed with that. Proud of you, sir.
Now on stage, Rose Rehome representing Team INMAC.
Yes. She's 23 years old, out of Quebec.
Our final competitor of this Warrior Cup final. She won the Women's Creative Musical Extreme Weapons Overall Grand Championship to qualify. With those last three performances from Tremblay, Presley, and Doss shaping up to be a very interesting final. Rayom trying to add her name to the mix now. Really clean striking, which you love to see in a creative bow form. Sometimes competitors try to pick up the pace and their hands get too close together. Good bow striking. Your left and right hand should be about splitting the bow into 3 equal parts. We call it thirds position. Rose doing a very good job of maintaining that, even though she's trying to go at the faster pace for the creative form.
Absolutely. Funny you bring that up. I saw world champion Lauren Kearney in the building this weekend, and her and I had some discussions about hand placement and bow work a while back, and I love the fact that it's not all about the flash, because without the basics and without the correct technique, you're never going to get there.
And Rose with an excellent performance there.
Great job, Rose. That was absolutely beautiful. All right, so the competitors will be making their way back to the stage for scoring, and the scoring for this will be done just as we've done it this evening again. And the 9.9s representing a first place down through 8, 7. May use 6s a lot of times in the finals, just to explain in case that comes on the screen for anyone that may not know. In these finals, sometimes they just do a 9 and an 8 on the score representing a first and second, and then all 7s unless there's a drop in a weapon. So you may see that in an overall. Want to make sure that we're having fun watching and knowing what the scoring is about as well. So you've got such a variety there with the way that they perform, what weapons they were using. Do you feel like a certain weapon gives one of these competitors an advantage in scoring with most of the judges, or is it fair play?
At this level, all of these athletes are at such a high level that no matter what weapon is in their hands, they're going to be at a relatively even playing field. Sometimes in some of the younger divisions among underbelts, there are certain misconceptions that one weapon may be more or less difficult than the other, but at this level, it's all about what you do in that form. And here's a big moment of truth here as Tremblay scores come out.
9.98, 9.98, 9.99.
Only 2 9.99s on the scorecards for Esteban Tremblay.
The door's open.
Likely
here.
will not be enough to get the win.
Probably. You're right. Depending on where the 9s go, you're right. We still don't know, because it could be all over the place, so to speak.
9.98,
Jake Presley looks like he pulls 5 9.99s, and he will in all likelihood be a Warrior Cup champion once again.
Yes, yeah. They wound up not being all over the place. They were all right there in front of Jake. Now, you hear the crowd, you hear that energy, which is probably our energy when he was performing, and they loved it. So he's getting the 9.97s and 8s, second or third place, but
this is inappropriate. You can't, in a Warrior Cup final, for a crowd to be booing over a result. I mean, Jake Presley did a phenomenal form. Jeff Doss was extremely entertaining as well, but not what I would ever recommend for a crowd to boo in a Warrior Cup final.
I think maybe some of that was just they were so surprised on what Mr. Doss did and were so impressed with the creativity. I love the heart and that energy, but you're right, we don't want to take away from the scoring of the technical part of that, and that was one of the points I was going to make as Jeff got his scores, is that they were also scoring on the technical merits of some other things that do differentiate, not just that one piece of creativity. He certainly won on that, won the nod there. And it looks like overall, of course, Mr. Jake Presley was the winner. What a final. I loved it. Kudos to every single one of those competitors for making it to the final. As you mentioned, winning what they're winning. Congratulations, Mr. Jake Presley.
Jake Presley, such a special competitor. I think coming from someone who's been there before, it's just such a difficult feat to be able to come on this stage year after year in the juniors, in the adults, and continue to win one of the most difficult awards in our entire sport because of the rounds of competition you have to go through.
That's right.
There are so many opportunities for a misstep or a poor decision or a call to not go your way. Jake Presley has risen above the rest, and for the 7th time in his career has secured a Weapons Warrior Cup. We'll be right back after a word from Royal Caribbean.
My name is Haley Glass. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I do martial arts, specifically a sub kind of category called sport martial arts. A typical show day, I'll get up, I'll get breakfast. I'm currently still in school, so I'll wake up, get some schoolwork done. I also teach martial arts lessons through like Zoom and Skype or FaceTime. So I'll use that time to teach some lessons, just relax. So I read a book, I'll journal, kind of just use the time to myself, nothing too strenuous. Closer to show time, it's just kind of warm up, get my body ready, then hair and makeup, and then it's showtime. So I'll do my first show. If we're doing 2 shows that day, I get another little break, and then after that, making sure all of our costumes are ready and clean, come back, shower, and then I'll eat again, so I don't go to sleep until maybe like 2 or 3. That's kind of the usual. Opportunities like this come to athletes like myself once in a lifetime. We're recruited for a reason, we get scouted for a reason. Our talents should be displayed the way it is. So I would say take the risk. It just exposes you to so many other aspects of like what we do. It's not just competitions, it's not the usual that a lot of us are so used to. There's so much more to be done and platforms for our talents, and I think this is a great way to at least jumpstart that and see that there are other opportunities out there. Sometimes it's hard to find, but once you do, you should take up on it because it might change your life.
I absolutely love that. I've loved watching Haley's journey, and as she got that opportunity, took that opportunity, and she's very social media, and just really enjoyed watching her grow through that, and look forward to see what's in the future. And she's right. That commercial is absolutely right. There's so many opportunities for martial arts athletes, sport martial arts athletes, and what we can do with our talent and what the next generation is going to be able to do. You just got to go for it.
And Joey, we transition to one of my favorite parts of the evening. It is time for some fights.
Love it. So we have the judges, the officials, being introduced in-house that are coming to the stage. They're going to be leading the action. Of course, one of my favorite officials I love officiating. We do a officiating training program with the Professional Martial Arts Conference and love that. And, of course, throughout the NASCA training. And one of the top officials, in my opinion, in the world in point fighting, Mr. David Bassinet, Canada. It's the Quebec Open, along with some other partners. And David is always a professional. He looks the part, but most importantly, he is the part. He understands how to control the ring, respect the athletes and coaches, but knowing the rules, knowing the procedures, you will see as the fight takes place how he controls that. And we have a few great judges and officials working this evening, and we'll try to highlight different parts of that, because without them, we don't have an event. So what you see on the screen there, we have Mr. Larry Carnahan, the North American Sport Karate NASCA president, coming over, making sure that the options for the officials and the rules, any last minute things, because a Warrior Cup final, some of the presentation rules might be slightly different. You know, they want to make sure that they're all on the same page at the last minute as the athletes are making their way to the stage. So they have I think Reed explained to the audience that some of the coaches might be doing a toss, see who comes out first when it comes to teams and things like that. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll learn who's going to come out first and who's going to match, and we'll talk about that.
And the bare bones for what the audience is about to watch right now, if you've never seen point sparring before, the most important details. The first fighter to land a technique is the fighter who scores, and it must be a clean technique.
Yes.
Hand techniques are worth 1 point. Kicking techniques are worth 2 points unless it is a jump spinning kick to the head, which, Joey, I hope we see tonight. Those are worth 3 points.
Well, last I checked, Bailey Murphy is going to be fighting, and anytime he's on the mat, and Alex Macias, by the way, there could be some head kicking. Usually involved with some spinning and jumping.
And speaking of jumping,
right on cue. Thank
Alex
you,
Macias leaping into the ring. Both of these athletes so hungry. Bailey Murphy, very, very, very well decorated in this sport, has won overalls at most all of the NASCA World Tour events, many of the most prestigious titles. Alex Macias, a couple of big wins under his belt, but Macias certainly looking to make a statement against a fighter like Bailey Murphy tonight.
You see David Bassinet again, the center referee, checking equipment. So if you're watching at home, you may not have been sure what is he doing. Checking that they have their shin guards, their pad, all of the correct required equipment for this match. It's not full contact. You talked about scoring points. They're really semi-contact, but there will be some hard hits. I can guarantee it.
Macias with the red gloves in the blue corner. Bailey Murphy in the red corner with the purple gloves. Murphy goes for the spinning back kick right away, lands to the elbow of Macias, no call. Only scoring areas are to the front of the torso and the head.
So you see the judges moving around. There are 2 corner officials plus the center referee, and they're watching not only out of bounds play, but points scored or blocked. So the judges have to have 2 out of 3 at minimum, maybe.
Murphy with a quick blitz, back fist reverse punch combination, scores 1-0.
It's always quick from Bailey.
Macias on the attack, scores. Macias now starting to pressure a bit more.
So Bailey's got wonderful kicks, but it seems he scores most of his points with his hands, really, with his blitzing and his counter movement and his spacing.
Well, for a lightweight, he has deceptively long reach. If you look as he goes for that blitz, the extension as he brings that left hand in catches a lot of fighters off guard. Back fist for Murphy, scores 3-1.
Great young athletes. Alex Macias, I believe, 21 years old. Bailey's 23. And Bailey Murphy is in the black, purple, and gold with Team Straight Up. Alex Macias in the black and white there, Team Paul Mitchell.
Murphy getting off the line so quick right now. Macias has to find a way to stop the bleeding. No call on that exchange.
And if you're at home watching, when you see these athletes punch or kick each other to score a point, the judges don't always see that, or maybe the other athlete scored first. So if you're watching thinking, oh, the person from Paul Mitchell scored, or Alex might have scored, or Bailey may have scored, again, depending on where they're standing on the stage and the judge's view, they may see it in a different light.
Macias with a late comeback effort, now 6-3. Nice. No call on that exchange. 13 seconds remain. Macias, a kick here would be huge. Ooh. Defensive sidekick from Murphy gets in 2 points. That's a dagger. 8-3 Murphy as time expires. 2-1. One more point for Murphy on the final exchange, and Bailey Murphy will advance to the Warrior Cup final.
What a fight. Both of those athletes, as you mentioned, world class. Great job, guys. And the D sidekick, defensive sidekick there. That was beautiful at the end. Great job, guys. All right, so we do have another fight coming to the stage, the other semifinal to move forward to the championship. So from Team Straight Up out of Orlando, Florida, he's 30 years old, Mr. Kevin Walker. And in the blue corner, as Reed is announcing as well in-house, representing Team Impex, K-Talk, out of Detroit, Michigan. He's 30 years old. We spoke about him in the introduction, Richard Avery Plowden.
When you win 4 Warrior Cups, you're going to get yourself some fans in Chicago. This sounds to be a crowd that is leaning Plowden.
Sounds that way, and for good reason, as you mentioned. So he's almost not really hometown. He's from Detroit. I don't want the Detroit Chicago business, but you're right.
How good do you have to be as a Detroit guy to get that kind of an applause in Chicago?
I think you've got to be pretty good, and lucky for everyone in attendance, Avery Plowden is one of the best. Here we go. Mr. Bosnet checks, make sure they're properly equipped. Just like Mr. Reed Presley, his equipped program, helping in a different way. Here we go. They have a 2-minute round, and it's total points after the 2-minute round to move on to the final.
Very common for both fighters to feel each other out a little bit early in the fight, work a couple of fakes, see how the other fighter's going to react. And Kevin Walker strikes first blood, 1-0.
Kevin Walker's one of the fastest, quickest fighters, really, and he's been around a while. And it seems like it doesn't matter, you know, what his age is or where he's fighting. He's always on top of his game and always lightning fast.
Plowden on the attack. They call the defensive kick from Walker. Hard to see at this angle, but the judges caught it.
He moves up 3-0 on Plowden. So minute 15,
Plowden on the hip with the side kick, scores.
It's the power side kick, nice.
That's why kicks are so important in this game. What was a 3-0 deficit is now a 3-3 tie game. The fight is essentially 0-0 once again.
That's right. Whether he land, or any of the athletes land a kick on the body or head, that's 2 points. And then as Jackson mentioned earlier, if they have a jump spin kick, it could be 3.
1 point to Walker as Plowden's back foot went out of bounds. Walker also attacked on the exchange.
That's right.
Side kick slips in for Plowden.
Wow.
The lead shifting back and forth, 5-4 Plowden.
This is nice.
Just over 30 seconds
who gets
remain.
The blitz? From this angle, looked like Plowden might have had that, but no confirmation. Again, where you're standing in the ring makes all the difference on that call.
A judge must see the technique connect with their own eyes to call it.
That's right. Oh,
back fist, Plowden.
Nice. So fast. Fade away, up, but looks like Walker's offensive back fist got the score. So there was an exchange with the out of bounds, so there's probably no penalty there, yes?
And as time expires,
wow.
A little bit of athleticism from Kevin Walker, trying to land one more kick and make something happen, but at the end of the day, it will be a 3-point win for Richard Avery Plowden, advancing to the final against Bailey Murphy. We've got some fireworks coming when that fight comes around.
Those guys always put on one of the best shows anytime they're on the mat together, so I look forward to that in a few moments. Both of those fights were fantastic. Congrats to Kevin Walker for making the final, one of the top athletes in the sport, and of course, Avery Plowden moving along towards that 5th title if he can take Bailey out. We'll see. I'm excited for that. All right, they are announcing a few of the other, I believe, looks like these are junior winners. So they are reporting the sides. So if you're wondering what Reed, Presley, all that business is out there, he's just announcing those junior winners to come and check in. So we hope they get that done. We'd like to see them perform.
Looks like we're going to get to see them take the stage. A good preview of who we might see on stage for these Adult Warrior Cup finals in the future. Or maybe they won't come on stage yet. That's okay, too.
Yeah, I think they were rearranging the order of how they were going to do that there. So as they get that, we will announce. Looks like to the stage. I know that lady. Ms. Holly Ham, she's the president of the Professional Martial Arts Conference, PROMAC, and we are one of the sanctioning groups for the event. events all over the country. We're super proud to be involved with sport martial arts. Love every moment of it. Miss Holly is one of the top officials in the game and helps in many, many ways at all the events between that and coordination. So she's going to be taking the lead on this particular fight. This is the Women's Warrior Cup final. And it is sponsored by ProMac, which was a great reason to give that little extra introduction there. Again, a lot of these athletes competing here on the NASCA and international circuit, as you mentioned and explained what those were. A lot of these athletes also compete regionally and nationally to keep their skills sharp, or because it's one event that they may have grown up doing. And we have a lot of the athletes on stage that still consistently do that, whether they're competing or giving back to those events or those areas to other athletes. And nothing makes me happier than to see that. You know, it all starts there to get to here.
Since this is the women's sparring,
Right. So this is the final. So
This is for the Warrior Cup. It'll be 2 rounds, win by 2.
That's right.
Katarina Herman in all black with the white gloves in the red corner for Team Paul Mitchell. Jimena Jañero in the green of Team Revolution. She is in the blue corner.
pick your fighter and make some noise.
2 great fighters. You're going to see Katarina, tall, great kicking, the long legs. Reminds me of a few past fighters such as Nikki Carlson Lee back in the day. She's got that build and those skills. And of course, Miss Jimena is so fast, a great athlete, great movement. She usually is a great counter fighter as well. I'm interested to see if she plays that game against a much taller reach fighter. Because Katarina is not just tall. She can use that height, use that distance, use those kicks. So how do you think each athlete might win the fight?
At the end of the day, the story of this fight is going to be told by Herman trying to keep Jañero away with her leg and land those kicks for 2. Jañero trying to work the fakes, use lateral movement to get around the outside, get Herman off balance, and then try to attack on the blitz. If Jañero is able to land the blitz consistently, she's likely to win a Warrior Cup. If Katarina Herman is able to keep Jañero at bay with her leg, Herman is likely to repeat and win a 2nd consecutive Women's Sparring Warrior Cup.
Couldn't have said that better myself. Here we go.
Jañero tries to get a hook kick up there, but blocked by Herman.
Yep, have an
Fighters
exchange.
reset.
That's right.
Herman pumping the leg as expected. Using that leg to work Jañero out of bounds. Our center referee thought that one connected. The other judges didn't see it.
So you've got David Bassinet moved to the corner there. Nick Kane, also a fantastic international official. He's working the opposite corner there in the side. Miss Hollyham working center. You see the judges rotating with the fighters so that they can get the best view of the scores.
And Jañero doing a good job of using some of that lateral movement, but mostly using it to get away, not using it to generate offense. If Jañero wants a chance in this fight, she needs to use that lateral movement to generate offense.
Agreed. And she can do it.
Pushing Jañero back again with the leg.
Pushed out. Yep, 1 point. So if a fighter steps out or goes out without it being, as the officials see it, an exchange happening or push, then there's a penalty point to the other side. Again, that is judges' discretion on what you saw or what you think you saw during that exchange or lack of.
And the key difference there is that if an opponent physically pushes a fighter out, that does not count.
No.
But if an opponent, like Katie Herman just was, threatening with that leg and the other fighter backs out trying to avoid it, that is when a penalty point is awarded.
Yes. So as expected, Herman is playing the distance game, kicking game, as she should. That's skill set you don't want to sleep on there.
And Katie Herman with a lead is so dangerous because now she can sit back. She doesn't have to generate offense with her leg. She can simply keep Jañero away and thrust in a defensive side kick like that one. All of a sudden, it's 6-0.
That's hard to
Another
overcome.
Defensive side kick at the bell. No call.
Not enough. That was a great blitz as well. I was interested to see what the call was going to be there. So they're going to get a 1 minute rest here, and then they'll come back in for the 2nd and final round, and it's total points. Whoever's winning by the total at the end. So you'll see, I love the the shots there of the coaches with the athletes, just like you would see in boxing or kickboxing or MMA and the UFC, those type of events. So we have coaches and instructors, depending on those titles, and they're going to give them all kinds of advice on, okay, here's how we can overcome that round, or this is what that athlete. So it's the same idea there, just with the point. So what do you think that coach of Ms. Herman's telling her with that lead, doing what she's doing? Anything different?
I know Damon Gilbert well, and I think that, as you see, Damon points to his head as he's talking to Katie, because that is really where this fight is won for Katie in the second round. If she can keep her head on straight, stick to the game plan, continue to use that leg, Janeiro has no choice but to start to get a little desperate in the second round.
She has to have more offense,
she's
right?
She's down 6, exactly. She's got to be on the offensive at some point in the second round to try to close that gap.
Yes.
And so what Damon Gilbert is saying is, hey, keep your head on straight, stay the course, let that 2 minutes run out, everything's going to be okay. On the opposite side, with Kyle Reed coaching up him to Janeiro, it's got to be about some way to generate offense. Is it the lateral movement like I was suggesting? Maybe. Is Janeiro going to try to check the leg and follow? Is she going to try to use some kicks of her own? We've got to see what kind of strategy they've cooked up. Now is the moment of truth.
Here we go. This is the final 2 minutes. This is the Women's Warrior Cup fighting final.
Janeiro's able to check that one and get that left hand in, 6-1.
On the board, let's make some noise.
You guys see Miss Janeiro Rosales. I think she got married recently, perhaps. We've got that on the screen, so no confusion there. Miss Katarina Herman, sticking to her game, as you said. No surprise. Oh. Nope. Judge on this side, plus center referee couldn't confirm that.
Well, and from our angle, you could also see Herman's heel there. Sometimes, because the sidekick, you're supposed to connect with either the blade or the heel. Sometimes if just the toes touch, judges won't call it because you're not landing with the most effective part of the foot.
That's 100% correct.
This is the final round.
Herman with the hands over the top, 7-1.
This is the final round of the 2 rounds for the Women's Warrior Cup final.
I expected maybe to see Timina move a little bit more circular, maybe try to get out of that straight path line to explode in, use those angles. But again, I don't know, maybe the idea of straightforward speed to speed.
Well, I believe what Jimenez is trying to do is play a distance game. If she gets just close enough to where the extended leg of Herman would be past Jimena Janeiro, she's able to kind of fight in the pocket, like on the first exchange where she scored the point that she has on the board. I think that might have been the game plan, to try to keep things a little bit closer, get some jams, and kind of win some clashes. And she's able to win the better of that clash there. But unfortunately for Jimena Janeiro, it looks like it's going to be too little too late. 15 seconds left and a 5-point deficit.
And fair enough on that point and explanation. Obviously, she has the talent and skill to make that happen. It's just
absolutely
on the other side. Katarina's reach, her timing on that is going her way. Wonderful fight, ladies.
And a big smile on the face of Katie Herman as you see the mouth guard showing nice and wide. She has now won back-to-back Warrior Cup titles.
Well, she came out last year on fire, and it continues. So congratulations to Ms. Herman. Fantastic back-to-back championship. Great fight from both athletes, both teams. Great respect. So as she comes to the stage, bowing to the officials, giving love and respect. Hunter Lyon and Grandmaster Sharkey up there as well for the presentation. Our center rep, once again, Ms. Holly Ham, and the promoter also of the Destin Open tournament every May. We'd love to see everyone there. You can find all that information on promatkarate.com or mataction.com 24 hours a day. We'd love to see you at any of those events. And once again, leaving the stage, our Women's World Champion Warrior Cup winner, final, Ms. Katarina Herman. Great job, ma'am.
Love to see that embrace at the back of the stage between the coach and the athlete. And notice Katie Herman posing for that Warrior Cup with the peace sign up. She's not telling you peace out. She's saying, hey, remember, I got 2 of these things.
Yeah, she's saying 2. Great job, ma'am. Congratulations.
Now, we've been counting Warrior Cups a lot tonight. Important to mention, if we're going to be counting Warrior Cups, the all-time Warrior Cup wins leader, Ross Levine, with 9 of them. That is one of those records that may never be broken.
Maybe not. Turbo Ross Levine, who's now also fighting in the Karate Combat League. One of the great point fighting champions.
not just in the Karate Combat League, a Karate Combat champion.
Yes, yes, and went for a second title. I'm just always impressed with Ross. So if you're listening out there, Ross, or any of his students or connections, super fans here.
And Ross Levine, a great role model for those that are on stage right now, our junior fighting champions that are being recognized right now, because of who Ross Levine is, both on the mat and off the mat, right? A doctor of physical therapy. He's always trying to help other athletes recover from injury, get ready for key events. What he's able to do as an athlete himself and in helping other athletes, and just in life in general, truly one of the great characters in the sport. So a big shout out to the great Ross Levine.
That's right. And talking about the fighter, the juniors on stage, that were the junior sparring grand champions from the weekend. Again, some of them competing tonight, some of them just here at the show, and we're able to get recognition for most of them on stage. Amanda Cardenas, Piper Miller, Tony Hassami Jr., Rhea Martin, Luis Falcon, Sandrine Audi. I watched that fight. Great job from those ladies. Sebastian Villanueva and Sofia Rodriguez Flores. Those were your winners. All right, and next up to the stage, we have the second round, or final, if you will, of the Men's Sparring Warrior Cup, sponsored by Century Martial Arts. So, you already know who's coming.
We have a marquee matchup. Avery Plowden seeking his 5th Warrior Cup. Bailey Murphy seeking his 1st Warrior Cup.
Who's hungrier? You've got Bailey Murphy, who has won everything in the sport at such a young age, is on top of the game. Many to believe the best point fighter in the world today. You have on the other side, and going for his first. He's hungry for that first. He hasn't won this. And you got Avery on the other side, going for 5 in a row, which is unbelievable. Who's more hungry? Who's going to get it? And these guys fight a lot, so they know each other.
Very familiar opponents, lots of respect between these two.
Bailey Murphy's 23 years old, once again in the black, gold, and purple of Team Straight Up, and representing Team Impex K-Top. He's all 30 years old, Mr. Avery Plowden. Should be familiar with these athletes by now. Here we go. Love those graphics for you guys helping us out. Great scoring. Great job to the team here at AKA Warrior Cup, bringing you guys such a professional presentation. Great job, guys.
Plowden, the heavyweight, pumps the leg. Now both fighters working a few fakes.
Nice. I expect a low score here. I don't know. Feeling that.
Well, what's so interesting about both of these fighters is that they can fight either fight. They could fight a slugfest where everybody's scoring points every which way, or this could be a very low-scoring, very defensive fight. They both have the tools in their toolbox to be able to win the fight that way, as Murphy gets on the board first with that back fist.
Speed. Avery is lightning as well. He's just a little bigger. So you think about that.
And look at the extension that Murphy gets on some of his fakes. That's what makes his fake so believable, is how much that left hand comes through, as Plowden's able to see through that fake and attack to score. Tied at 1. Defensive sidekick from Murphy, blocked by Plowden. Plowden on the attack, scores. 2-1 Plowden.
Just before that underneath strike from Bailey Murphy.
Murphy gets it back, oh no, but comes up with a bit of a limp. Looks like he's okay.
And shake it off.
Just a little bit of an awkward step coming out of that exchange, it looked like.
45 seconds remaining, all tied up, 2-2.
David Bossinet again at center ref of this match. Mr. Politi in the corner, and the legendary Terry Kramer on the backside. Not enough from those judges that time.
Plowden really fighting from behind that hard lead leg side kick. Seems to be a big part of his strategy as Murphy attacks and scores.
Wow, that was close. Oh, did we
Plowden
get the reverse
gets it
from
right
Plowden?
back.
Yes, ties it up.
15 seconds remaining, all tied up.
Maybe a blitz contest here to end.
And really not much momentum in this first round. Maybe Murphy able to get a little bit there with that last blitz. Now up 4-3.
And time.
He did not slip in the sidekick.
No.
David Boissonet, the center referee, saw it. The other judges did not.
tried.
But as I was saying, not much momentum exchanged in that first round. It was kind of individual moments for each fighter. Bailey Murphy has a 1-point advantage, but a very evenly matched bout so far.
I don't know why, but I was feeling that might happen with a lower score. I mean, sometimes you see it jump up if they're both being very aggressive, but they are playing that movement, that spacing, that defensive game. They know each other so well. How hard is it to score against somebody you fought so much and is at such a world-class level?
Of course, and both of these fighters so cerebral, so analytical. A big part of that first round may have just been collecting data, right? We didn't really see anything new from either fighter. We knew Bailey Murphy was going to try to get his fast blitz in there. We knew that Avery Plowden was going to use sidekick and back fist to score. We know those things about these fighters. So we're not surprised by anything in the first round, but what they're doing is Avery is trying to assess what is Bailey doing different with his fakes, with his movement. And on the opposite side, Bailey's trying to assess what is Avery's game plan going to be so that they can make adjustments for this round where they try to take home a Warrior Cup.
Very well said. A lot of strategy behind that, and it's just like you may see in a full contact fight where they're making strategies for the next round to make adjustments.
So fast on that blitz from Bailey Murphy.
Beautiful.
He's up 5-3. Plowden contesting strongly that kick should have scored. Looks like Murphy might have even acknowledged it by the little hand gesture they shared.
Maybe slightly out of character there, because in the middle of the fight, that really doesn't do much for you.
Right.
You need to focus on that next point, although you may be justified. You never know.
And sometimes you got to let the judges know they missed something. It might make it a little easier for their hands to move your direction.
Possibly a little bit of that game. Doesn't work
Just
on me,
like
but I
that,
understand it.
Just like that, back-to-back blitzes. Score's knotted at 5.
There you go. Oh, did he score
Back
with
fist.
the reach?
Back fist connects from
Yes.
Plowden. He's up 6-5.
Wow.
What a turn of events. Another back fist. Plowden doesn't score.
Nope. Called the deflection there.
Murphy resetting. Calm, cool, collected. Back fist scores. Knotted at 6.
Wow.
Clash. Good call by the referees there. Back fist. Plowden. He's got the lead. 7-6.
The timing's a little off.
Murphy
on the
blitz.
screen.
No call.
Oh, on the exchange. Same time. There we go. 36.
Plowden doesn't get the initial back fist. Murphy fades away and lands the defensive side kick. Now Murphy's got the lead 8-7.
30 seconds left.
Murphy,
Ooh, Murphy with the
blitz, scores, 9-7, 2-point advantage. Plowden gets it back.
And maybe a deflected low blow there, glancing. Going to take a moment to recoup. So
And
that it happens.
Very unfortunate for
That
Avery
happens.
Plowden to suffer one of those low blows in this instance. It happens. Obviously not intentional from Bailey Murphy.
Nope.
But great for us because it gives us a timeout to reset and look at the situation we've got here. We've got 20 seconds left in a Warrior Cup final. Win by 2.
Yes.
Bailey Murphy cannot just coast here. He needs another point to win. Plowden obviously going to complete the small comeback here, going to try to complete the small comeback here and get a 5th Warrior Cup.
A short medic check. They're ready to go.
Murphy scores over the top. He's got the 2 points he
Oh,
needs.
did he get the hook? Or the
Huge
blitz?
hook kick from Murphy.
Nothing.
Did not land on the back of the head. Did not
Ooh.
connect. Back fist, Plowden. No call.
No side
Time
kick,
about
no
to
back
expire. Plowden sidekick.
Not
Plowden
enough.
slides in. Is there a call? No call.
Oh,
And Bailey
wow.
Murphy with his first career Warrior Cup championship.
Wow, look how happy Mr. Murphy is, and he should be. And, of course, with respect, Mr. Plowden standing there. Wow, congratulations to, again,
What
possibly
an
the top point
amazing-
fighter in the world right now. Amazing fight. I mean,
Amazing, closely contested matchup. So much respect between these
Look at
two
that.
fighters.
absolutely. That is the kind of final we wanted. So, at home, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm sure that fight's going to be rewatched quite a bit. Bailey Murphy gets some of his gear off, makes his way to show respect to Master Sharkey and Hunter Lion there. And again, this event was sponsored by our friends at Century Martial Arts, so we appreciate all of their support. Presented by Ren Lowe with Century Martial Arts. He is the handsome gentleman up there with the award.
And Bailey Murphy posing with that first career Warrior Cup. Now a word from our sponsor, Century.
All right, thank you once again, Century Martial Arts. So much for the sport. We're back, and we're going to move right along. Our next event on stage for the black belt boys empty hand forms, so no weapons. Empty hand forms is the overall NASCA Grand Championship. So as you hear Reed explain in the background, they are competing here to move on the Warrior Cup Forms Final. First up on stage from Toronto, Ontario, he's 17 years old, representing top 10 team USA, Matthew, I guess, Gruete? How do I say that last name? I want to make sure.
Grusha. Matthew Grusha.
Matthew, I want to make sure I get that right. Grusha. Thank you, sir.
Top 10 Team USA, known for producing a lot of high caliber traditional talent.
Yes. Great athletes across the board there. Forms, weapons, fighting. Great coaching. See what Matthew brings to the table tonight.
Big shout out to their coaching staff of Jarrett, Becca, and Bob Leiker.
Promoters of the AmeriKick Internationals every year, correct?
And as we shift back to the junior divisions, we will again see that contrast between the extreme and the traditional.
Matthew with a great presence coming to the stage. He'll make the most of that opportunity. Comes out strong, very dynamic movement. It's a great way to start.
You talk about the presence. It's something that's so important for a traditional kata competitor, especially after this crowd was just going ballistic over that fight between Bailey Murphy and Avery Plowden. And now trying to get the crowd to calm down, focus in on this traditional performance. Sometimes if a competitor doesn't truly have that presence, you hear the crowd continue to stir and you hear those murmurings.
Yes.
But Grusha doing a very good job here, kind of changing the tone in the audience, getting everybody to focus on him. And that ability to command a room is really important for a kata competitor.
You know a thing or two about that. A little showtime yourself there, my friend. When you have your moment, you need to take advantage of it to the fullest.
The speed of Grusha, so impressive on some of these explosive techniques. And it's really the beauty of Japanese kata, is the slow suspense, showing off the breathing, the patience, the grace, and then out of nowhere, just exploding into the next technique. Just like those front kicks.
Again, for anybody watching at home, if you're involved in martial arts on any level, any style, you would like to compete, maybe you are in an area where you are not as aware of these events, or you're looking to get into these events, you don't know where to start. Again, a few of the organizations we mentioned across the country and internationally doing and hosting sport martial arts events that are great for the family, for the athlete, to help you develop, you know, from the local level, the regional and national level, for what we do with ProMAC, with the Professional Martial Arts Conference, up through NASCA, the North American Sport Karate Circuit, and ISK, as you mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of levels, athletes like Matthew. And again, if you're at home, you think you can't, yes, you can, and you have so many tools available to you. You can visit madaction.com at any time to connect with a lot of those organizations. Who knows? You might be next. Speaking of next, this young man's come a long way over the years, all the way from Gassville, Missouri, 17 years old, representing Team AKA. He's a high flyer, Jonah Meschel.
And of course, this is the AKA Warrior Cup, so members of Team American Karate Association, of course, going to have some crowd support here. Massive,
Wow.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, that was a huge full snafu.
Oh no. He
Oh man.
definitively looks
Oh,
like
and
we have a
gotta
leg injury there.
You gotta love the sportsmanship
Yes.
from Matthew Grusha there, immediately on stage to be at the side of his opponent. Oh my goodness, that right knee just could not take the impact from that huge landing. Oh.
And we don't see that a lot. You know, anybody watching
No,
that,
it's
that
rather
isn't used to
uncommon.
watching, you know, these kinds of shows. Obviously, injuries and that sort of thing happens. But the coaches and the medical staff, they'll make sure that he moves along appropriately.
And while he gets attended to by medical staff, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Jonah Michelle able to exit the stage with assistance. Again, had a huge opening move to begin his routine, and just so unfortunate to suffer that injury. And we were talking about as he was starting to be attended to by medical staff. I mean, truly in this sport, even though these athletes are doing incredible things, high flying, lots of speed, lots of energy, coming down hard, but they reach such a high level by the time they're throwing those skills that those landings are very, very controlled. It's very uncommon to see an injury, especially one that looked to be of that caliber.
Yes.
Of course, there's no reason to try to predict, you know, what the injury might be or how long he might be out for. That's not appropriate at this stage. But the important thing is he was able to get off stage.
Yes.
He's being attended to. And it's just so unfortunate. And to your point, Joey, we don't see it so often, which just makes it so much harder to see an athlete go through that.
Absolutely. And we want all of these athletes to leave healthy and happy, win or lose, have a great experience. I'm sure Jonah will be back. He's a tough young man. So if we get any kind of report on his status, we let you know. I don't think we would. It looks like something that is going to take a moment to be looked at elsewhere. And we're going to, you know, go ahead and move forward with respect to the other athletes as they have Matthew come back to the stage. And, of course, the spot you saw there from Royal Caribbean, we appreciate their support.
You know, we talked about earlier how you never want to win a championship when somebody drops. But, I mean, this is a whole nother level. And so you see the appropriate reaction from Matthew there.
Yes.
You know, hey, thank you for my trophy. There's a bigger problem going on. Let's just get on to the Warrior Cup, right? Nobody wants to win that way. But, of course, Matthew Grush's form of overall Grand Championship quality. So certainly deserving of the title, just very unfortunate circumstances surrounding it.
Absolutely. So, you know, not taking anything away from Matthew, in fact, giving him extra credit for his respect and handling it. Very mature. We appreciate Matthew coming back up and accepting that. And he will move on to the Warrior Cup. So here we go. The 14-17 NASCA Overall Championship for the black belt girls, empty hand form. So again, no weapons for this. And the winner of this will move on to compete for the Forms Warrior Cup as well with Matthew. So our first competitor, you watched her earlier. She's back from Lebanon, Tennessee, Miss Avery Presley.
We have a great young rivalry in this sport. We always start to see it in this kind of teenage division, those two girls that start to separate themselves from the pack and show that we're going to see them on stage against each other for years to come. It's starting to look like Avery Presley and Sofia Rodriguez Flores are creating that rivalry. Another chapter being written right now, starting with Avery Presley in her extreme form.
Recent memory, maybe a little Sammy Smith, Mackenzie Emery, or any of the hundreds others we know that we've grown up with. Absolutely love it. Avery out of the gate, fire. The combination of the 540 into the multiple knee spins, way harder than it looks, especially the posturing and the balance and timing.
Avery Presley tends to make everything look easy. That signature axe aerial. Now here comes another tricking combination.
Oh, nice combination there. Great job, man.
Cartwheel full twist to the knee, landed beautifully. Avery Presley looking to defend her Forms Warrior Cup and win a third career Warrior Cup. She needs this overall Grand Championship to advance.
Looking clean and strong so far, and there's your ending. Great job. So this was an extreme form, meaning you could be creative style with flipping and more advanced techniques without going overly into that. So great extreme performance musical from Miss Avery Presley. Her competition, you'll see her multiple times, I'm sure. Miss Sofia Rodriguez Flores from Sunrise, Florida. She's 16 years old, representing Team Infinity. She's here this weekend. I believe you get to see her next at the Memphis Open, February 16th and 17th, with a free competitor seminar, and you're about to see why. One of the top performers in the game at such a young age. Her poise, her presence is really one of the top, no matter what the age groups are. And if she nails this, she's going to really give Avery a run for her money. Completely different style here.
And that's what makes this rivalry so interesting, is how different these competitors are. The thing that sets Sofia apart from fellow traditionalists is her ability to create these beautifully choreographed forms to the music. All of the movements synchronized with the rhythm.
Some would say part of the reason for a movement of change within the sport. Adding additional divisions, which only gives the athletes more opportunities and drives the coordinators crazy. Here we go, Miss Sofia. Beautiful performance out of the gate already. Complete focus.
And another thing that's been so impressive about Sofia over the last few years is that sometimes you see a traditional kata competitor find that one special form and they're able to get the choreography perfect and they're able to go on a run with that one form, but eventually the judges start to get tired of that same form over and over again. Sofia has successfully been able to transition from a form like Kishimoto, which used to be her ace kata, now doing unshu. The ability to transfer between these different kata, something that really is a testament to how good Sofia Rodriguez Flores is.
I think she could do a beginner level kata and make it look world class. In fact, this weekend, she was entering the Korean traditional forms divisions and placed quite highly there. Looking to add to her resume. Love hearing that from all of these athletes. A lot of diversity in what they're doing.
Rodriguez Flores, a student of Sensei Robert Young at the Kenseikan Dojo in Miami.
Nice shout out to Master Young. Wow. The musical cues, I hope everyone at home could hear those nuances play such an important role in how it comes across in the room. We hope that translates to video.
And every time I watch these two ladies, I count my blessings that I'm in the booth and not in a judge's chair.
100%. I talk about that quite a bit, where you're having to officiate. It's so hard, and in these finals, I do like this seat a little bit better. That's for sure.
We can talk shop all day. Just don't make us make the decisions.
Always, sir. All right, we have scores from Miss Avery Presley. A total of 49.91. Looking like she got 2 out of the possible 7 first place votes. So again, with just 2 competitors, that quick math will tell you it looks like it's going to lean Miss Sofia's way. A score of 49.94. Your winner for the Girls Forms Grand Championship in the 14 to 17 group, Miss Sofia Rodriguez Flores.
And presenting the award is Mary Amato, and the winner of the 14 to 17 Girls Forms.
So it looks like our Junior Forms Warrior Cup may be a traditional heavy division. We'll have to take a look at who the 13 and under winners are that are going to be joining the 14 to 17 winners that you just watched.
Yes.
We could be seeing a traditional Warrior Cup coming home tonight.
Well, I know a very high percentage of the audience that would love to see that, right?
My name is Rebecca Chin. I am from Seattle, Washington. Martial arts.
Sorry for the brief interruption. Competitors coming to the stage is going to be Michael Brumet from Houston, Texas, 22 years old, representing Team AKA.
All right, our next division coming up is the Men's Korean Forms Challenge Final Round. So at the top of the show, we watched the ladies do this exact same division. So all of those same ideas, same rulings take place here. You have Michael Brumet out of Houston, Texas. He's just 22 years old, representing Team AKA. And his opponent on the right side, you saw him earlier in that weapons final, Jeff Doss out of Virginia at 40 years old, Team Revolution. They're going to get their positions, which may be off-center of each other, again, to stay out of each other's way and understanding what they're doing. If they know the other one's pattern, as you mentioned, they may try to time that ending to take advantage of that. Let's see what these guys do.
I believe I heard Michael Brumet announce that his form was Yushin.
Yes.
Jeff Doss doing his trademark, Ulji.
Both have roots in the International Taekwondo Federation system. Interesting to see. There are many Taekwondo or Korean-based. They don't just have to be Taekwondo in this division. They can be Korean-based, Tansudo, and maybe a few other variations there, giving love.
And people may raise an eyebrow at me saying trademark to a guy living right now with a form that's hundreds of years old, right? However, I think that it's appropriate to say that Jeff Doss can trademark Ulji.
It's certainly a form that he brings out and excels with, so I don't blame him. One of the best kickers in the game at any age. He demonstrates that right there. Mr. Brumet with his pattern, really not a showcase for kicking, but some of the other elements of the Korean arts and taking advantage of some of the power stance positions and exchanges. It really just depends on how that's executed, especially if you're having to compare it to Ulji or maybe a kicking heavy form.
And one thing Michael Brumet's doing a nice job of here is matching the intensity of Jeff Doss. That's one thing that Jeff does so well to set himself apart from other competitors. He is so intense. Michael Brumet bringing his A game, really going hard on those key eyes, right on cue, and trying to match the intensity of Jeff Doss. And now these two gentlemen will leave it in the hands of the judges.
Love it. Fantastic point. Mr. Brumet, great job on that. Great demonstration of power. Both competitors super fluid, and let's see who the judges vote for. Just like the majority of those judges' hands raised were in Jeff Doss's direction. So
unanimous decision win for Jeff Doss. Sushi taking home a title tonight.
Awesome to see. Great athletes. Thank you, Michael Brumet and Jeff Doss, the winner of your Korean Forms Challenge. And it's great to see the different format, the two athletes there at the same time. Maybe not all the time, maybe not every division, of course. Some of them would make 0 sense. You know, two athletes doing extreme forms at the same time within a 20-foot space may not be a good idea. But in this case, especially traditional, it certainly can make sense. And it's very unique. That was very nice to watch. A lot of positivity. We have the demonstration team competition coming up with 2 teams. And this sanctioned by NASCA in particular for the black belt team groups. Our first one to the stage. They really don't need much of an introduction. They are such a legendary sport martial arts demonstration team over the last 20 years in particular. Team Infinity.
And in the team demonstration competition, they recently made a new rule in the NASCA North American Sport Karate Association rulebook that now there can be up to 20 athletes in team demonstration. Limit used to be lower, so now we might even see more athletes up on stage, but I think it's great because we're going to get to see a wider variety of competitors represented in the team demo division.
Yes.
And as Reed was just explaining to our audience in-house, you're going to see a ton of variety in every performance here. Almost every weapon you can imagine, all kinds of tricking, creative interactions between the athletes. Team demonstration is truly a spectacle of martial arts.
Absolutely. The more athletes on stage, boy, the more you have to watch as an official. So, again, I don't feel sorry in that regard, you know, watching. But to that point, it's a little different than individual competition because one of these athletes might miss a kick or drop a weapon or be off cue, and it doesn't necessarily make you lose the round as a team, right?
Nice solo there for Will Nevitt with the 540 to split. Got a Noelle Jellison sighting up at the front of the stage.
Great to see her back. I spoke with her today. She got to compete this weekend, and that was a surprise to quite a few, including herself. It was great. Great job on that. I mean, all of those weapons in the air, most people just duck and run. So I love what Team Infinity brings to the table and have over the years, led by Coach Mike Welch and others. But Mike is definitely the fire starter there and always has a great team, always has great choreography.
Right in the center of your camera there a moment ago was Nolan Grunwald. Nice little under the leg and behind the back catch for this trio of bow athletes.
Nice timing there, guys.
Oh, and now Nolan Grunwald with a solo. He goes for the triple and nails it.
Gives you a little extra. Nolan, one of the top young competitors in the game, traveling all over the country. Great to see him out there highlighted in the team.
Now, nice to see Will Nevitt here, known as a bow competitor, working the nunchucks.
Absolutely. Winner of multiple regional grand champion titles and others around the country the past few years. Great to see Will doing that. And we've got little team creative coming out here, Extreme. Thought they were going to kick each other. They faked me out.
And that's one of the great things about Team Demo. You can get fight scenes. Now we're getting some bow throws. You've seen plenty of tricking here. Little drop on the backside. Now, unlike we've talked about in some of the solo divisions where a drop essentially takes somebody out of the running, one drop in the scheme of an entire team demo is not necessarily a death sentence.
Absolutely. As an official, if you are scoring it, you're going to have both teams. They're both probably going to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So, again, the entire show is what you're scoring.
It's one of my favorite parts of the Infinity
That's
demo
awesome.
there, that really creative kind of walkover with
Yes.
the assistance from the teammate right into the corkscrews. And a whole bunch of backflips to end it with a bang for Team Infinity.
Great job.
Laying down the gauntlet in this team demonstration final.
Yeah, that was fantastic. A lot of synchronization there and a lot of different points and a little variety with a little this, that, and as you mentioned, kind of one of their signature parts with the human flip over. I love it. So Mike might yell at me later for the nickname, but we'll see. Great job, Team Infinity. Always impressive. And their competition tonight coming to the stage from California, led by Coach Will Jackson, one of the top coaches in the game, in my opinion, with the amount of athletes that he's training out of the facilities and bringing those young athletes up and their energy and progression. So kudos to him. I always like to give them a shout out if I can. This is Team Freestyle.
And that's one of the things that's really impressive about both of these teams is that most teams that you see on the World Tour are teams that have recruited athletes from all over, seeking out all the best athletes,
Yes.
going and signing these athletes. Both Infinity and Freestyle completely homegrown. They have built up their team from within their schools, whether it's Freestyle in San Diego or the Infinity chain of schools in Wisconsin
Yes.
and the surrounding area now. They're starting to build a little Infinity empire up in the Midwest.
Hey, proud of them.
But
Great.
it's so impressive to see these coaches, Mike Welch and for Freestyle, Will Jackson, being able to develop this talent to get to this level where they can be on a world stage like this.
Absolutely, it is hard to do. You know, running studio for 30 plus years, having demonstration teams, I can tell you it's a lot of people to keep up with above and beyond your normal studio running business, and you definitely have to have the passion and heart for it and a little bit of luck with the right athletes coming through. Both of these teams certainly have that. We'll alternating opening sequence, tumbling little highlight. And right there in the center of that group is Judith Sagarwal, one of the top teenage competitors in the game. She's a high flyer, as they all are, it looks like.
And I always love the aesthetics of a Team Freestyle demo. They do such a good job of making everybody on stage look good together. Not only are they moving in sync, but the positions they're getting into are really unique and intricate and adds a whole other level to their performance that gives them an edge.
Absolutely, and I think maybe depending on backgrounds of some folks that may watch, in particular their demonstration with some of their posturing and 8-count timing, they do take advantage of that part of team synchronization and using those counts that you see a lot in dance and that type of thing. So kudos to them for understanding that.
Oh, and Judah
Ooh,
Sagawa
nice.
with a huge Webster catch.
Yes. Always
a move,
pushing it.
A move that was once extremely rare because of how difficult it was, but now Judah just going out there solo. He's a sword competitor. Throwing up the bow, doing a Webster and catching it. You love to see it.
That's a testament to the quality of athletes on the stage. Great job. These guys are killing it. Great, great timing, staying together, great diversity with the weapons, the tricking, the synchronization of the different movements, good music. Yeah, this is going to be tough for the judges because both teams pretty sharp here. Oh,
beautiful pass
sword
between the
exchange.
swords there.
Yes.
That's a new element to this demo. And now an element returning from their demo in the last couple of years. I love how they mix in some of this Nazca modern style traditional bow. Not many demo teams are doing that. I love the fact that freestyle shows that division some love.
Absolutely. Big age range on this team. You've got some younger athletes and performers all the way up to the higher teams, it looks like. Great youth team. And ending this.
3 consecutive swinging corkscrews for Judah Sagawa. We've been saying Judah's name a lot, but every team has their MVP, and unquestionably on freestyle, it is Judah Sagawa leading the ship right there in the middle of the pack.
Such a talented team, so many talented athletes out there. Great job, guys. Great performance.
Fantastic performance from Team Freestyle. And in this situation between two teams that are so great, it could come down to the smallest of mistakes in between these two performances that we just watched that the judges are going to have to make their decision hinge upon.
That's right. Trying to score that, watching both of them, thinking, if I am in that chair and I've got to throw that 9 or that 8, which team gets the nod. So as you watch those performances, all of those little things, how did they come on and off of the floor? How were their exchanges? Did they stay in sync when they were supposed to be in sync, when it was obvious? So there's different elements to that. Judges trying to rewind all of that in their head. It's tough.
And skill to do a martial arts demonstration like that. So let's make one more time. Tons of noise.
All right. You hear Reed pumping up the crowd, giving all of those athletes some extra love. Let's see what the judges' scoring is going to be. Team Infinity will receive their totals first. 49.92 is the total. They wind up getting 3 of the possible 7 9s. So that tells you it looks like Freestyle will be getting 4 out of the 7, which will make them the winner. We'll read the official score here.
And a 4-3 split, as close as it gets, especially befitting for these two teams that are so evenly matched. As we mentioned, it came down to the slightest of differences. And tonight, your team demo champions at the AK Warrior Cup, Team Freestyle, making San Diego proud.
Wow, congratulations, guys. Congratulations, Coach Jackson and Team Infinity. Great job. Demonstration team and sync, they are so fun to watch. There's so much going on. Great job, guys. All right, they're going to huddle together, get a big team pick. That's right. Show the love.
You always love to see the level of sportsmanship that you get in the team demo division. So many different teammates all meeting in the center of the ring, sharing this moment together, and always happy for each other. There's a great camaraderie between all these teams that are at the top of their game, and you just love to see it. All ages, different ranks of black belt, all different skills. Just love to see it in team demonstration. We'll be back with more action at the AK Warrior Cup after this.
My name is Rebecca Chin. I am from Seattle, Washington, and I do martial arts. My background is in a Chinese martial art called Wushu. For show days, I normally take it pretty easy throughout the day. I don't really do any heavy strength training or conditioning beforehand, though I do like to move around a little bit. I will stretch. So in the afternoons, I like to do activities like studying Spanish. I like to read a lot and write. And then at around 4 o'clock, I'll have a big early dinner. After that, I'll start warming up. I like to touch on all the different weapons that I do in the show in my warm-up, as well as all of the more complex body turning movements. I do one of each of my tricks. And then I start with my makeup and my presets and then get ready to do the show. My favorite part about my job is just performing in general. I think it's so magical, all of the elements that come together. You know, the lighting and the music and the water, they're really speaking to an audience. You're so close to the audience that you could hear them say, like, how did she do that? Where did she come from? All of these little things. That connection is so much fun for me. I enjoy it every single night. What I love most about being in an all-female cast is to be part of a group of women where each of them is, you know, passionate and enthusiastic about their own discipline, and they always want to push themselves to be better. And to have that, I'm so grateful for it. What I love is that so many little pieces are working together to create kind of a crazy, magical experience for guests. And I feel so grateful to be a very small part of that, where I get to do what I love and fit into this larger experience that is really magical for the people who get to come on board.
All right, fantastic spot from our friends at Royal Caribbean. I love the fact going a little deeper with those athletes and the opportunities they have once again. So thank you to Royal Caribbean for giving those opportunities and showing a new audience what they could do. Pretty cool.
And a great example of some of the opportunities that you can earn on stages like this, right?
Yes.
Sport karate athletes are some of the prime athletes that these companies like Royal Caribbean and others are going to be recruiting for to find these performers. Royal Caribbean at the top of the show said it themselves, that they look at tournaments like this to recruit athletes and find the next star of some of their shows. So you get started in sport martial arts, there's no telling where this path could take you.
Well, as the competitor comes to the stage, this is the Junior Forms Warrior Cup Final, sponsored by Faye Farrell and Associates. We appreciate their sponsorship of AK Warrior Cup. We watched Matthew come to the stage earlier and perform. Was fantastic. Once again from Toronto, Ontario. He's 17 years old with top 10 Team USA. And just a note, as he starts his performance from backstage, just out of a gesture of respect and appreciation for Jonah's getting to the final and obviously already being a champion in his own particular way, we hear that Matthew gave him respect and his cup as appreciation for competing with him and wishing him well. So, again, great respect across the board.
Presented him with the overall grand championship trophy. How cool.
Yes, very nice. All right, Matthew starting again, smooth, focused, strong.
And now performing the form that I believe won a Warrior Cup for one of his coaches, Super NP.
Well, that was what I was leading you into. Are we watching a different form, and what would go behind that choice?
Well, and I love that Matthew, I mean, he just showed the judges a different kata, right?
Yes.
So if he were to go up here and do the same kata over again, he risks the judges starting to just get too comfortable watching that same kata again.
Yes.
It's too much to say that they'd get bored with it because he's so good. They're not going to get bored no matter what he does, right? But giving the judges a little bit of a different flavor is just going to keep them a little bit more interested, get them a little bit more invested in this form. So for other athletes that we've seen on stage already tonight, like Sofia Rodriguez-Flores, who we'll see later, it'll be a very interesting strategic decision. Does she stick with a form that she's already done because the choreography is so good?
Yes.
Or does she switch it up because she's trying to give the judges something new? And I've said this a million times on broadcasts just like this, there is an underrated element of strategy in traditional kata that a lot of competitors don't appreciate unless you compete in traditional kata.
Yes.
It's easy to see the strategy in extreme. You do the bigger trick, you do the more conservative trick, right?
Yes.
In kata, there's a very, very intricate strategy at the highest level that goes into what kata these athletes actually perform on stage.
Very well put. Thank you. That as a form, somebody that competed growing up, we didn't have as many opportunities to do the different types of divisions. So I look back and go, man, that would have been a great opportunity to be more diverse in the kata world or weapons world earlier on. So today's sport martial art athletes have so many options. I don't know if they know how lucky they are, but I certainly appreciate it. And Matthew staying consistent, beautiful technique. the flow, the consistency. Again, any of you at home that are involved with traditional martial arts or have been involved in traditional martial arts, as Jackson put, maybe seeing contemporary touches or spins on some of the classical katas or variations of that. All of that fits within the rules that these competitors are competing in, and a little bit of extra showmanship here and there.
And one thing about Matthew Grusha, no matter the form, look at the explosiveness. Just like when we saw him earlier tonight, the speed, the power, all of that coming together is what sets him apart from his peers.
Great.
And that will bring an end to a beautiful traditional kata by Matthew Grusha.
Great job. And you heard the crowd giving him a little extra cheering there during the sequence. So even in traditional, you can get the crowd going. Love it. Great job, Matthew. All right. Next to the stage for our Junior Forms Warrior Cup, Adamas Rashkauskas. That's a mouthful, and his dad loves every moment of it. From Plantation, Florida, he's 13 years old, representing Team AKA Atom Bomb, as he's lovingly called, also performing traditional here.
We predicted this might be a traditional heavy Junior Warrior Cup final. Adamas Rashkauskas, also known as Atom Bomb.
Yes. Adamas coming through the ranks the last few years. He's one of those competitors that even as an underbelt was able to travel throughout the country a little bit, get some experience, and you can see the benefits of that by getting to black belt and being at the level that he is. He does a great job across many different divisions. He's had a great focus on traditional over the past year, and that's obviously paying off for him, making some finals and winning many events. I know that he came up through many groups there in the Florida area and also through the ProMac circuit across the country. He won many grand championships as a junior underbelt. So I've followed him for quite a few years, and it's really great to see his focus on quality, technique, and really getting into that traditional world. Great job, Adam.
Now the kata you're watching, Shatnyara Kusanku. And we talked about the explosiveness of Matthew Grusha, the teenager of the division. Now with Adamas Rashkauskas, technically a teenager, 13.
Yes.
He just made it into that category.
Just over the line.
But doing his best to try to match some of that power, showing some explosive techniques of his own.
I think he's doing a great job of it. In fact, prior to you bringing that up, that was what was running through my head on the last combinations and moving forward that he did. At home, even if you aren't real sure what he's doing or you're not as familiar with what type of techniques you understand, left, right, setting low, kneeling, standing, and you could tell the force, the speed, the dynamics behind that, if he's going fast or slow or powerful or weak. So we talk about exploding and bringing that exchange, you can see him pushing that because he had to match that upper level power. I think he's doing a great job of trying to bring that, and he's got some extra little showmanship to him.
And some watching from home may think, well, how can you compare the power of a 13-year-old to the power of a 17-year-old? And I think in the eyes of the judges, it's important to remember in an event like this, it's about pound for pound power, right?
Yes.
A 13-year-old doesn't truly have to overpower a 17-year-old to be eligible to win, but they're trying to show a level of execution beyond their years.
Yes, yes. And many times you see the younger competitor come out on top. That's why the division is the challenge that it is and the opportunity that it is.
The crowd creating a crescendo once again as we approach the end of this kata. Nice jumping front kick.
Obviously, most of the traditional patterns of any variation are usually much longer than a creative or extreme type form for a lot of different reasons. They fill the time slot, and that would end that performance from Atom Bomb. Great job, sir. Pretty smooth. Did not see any major mistakes there as far as performance-wise.
And the next competitor coming to the stage.
Can guarantee you Master Young might have watched it and have a few notes for him now. All right, here we go. Out of Union, New Jersey. She's back to the stage. Team Revolution representative Amanda Duarte.
Amanda Duarte been on stage for her traditional kata many times over the last couple of years, and her coming to the stage in a traditional uniform all but confirms this is going to be a completely traditional Warrior Cup. I would be very surprised if Sofia Rodriguez Flores came out and did anything other than her patented traditional kata.
I would say there is 0.0 chance of that happening. It will be a traditional kata.
She could do it though. She's got extreme skills.
Yeah, yes. No, she's excellent in that department. Just doesn't show it as often. But I would bet she's bringing the traditional game here. If she shows up in a black uniform in a moment, we'll all be surprised.
And maybe that's the surprise factor that could win a Warrior Cup. Who knows, right? But for now,
Could be.
We've got Amanda Duarte on stage representing Team Revolution.
Look at that focus. We talked about the intensity and the focus. And again, the last couple of years of her continuing to grow into the sport, it's been there. And she's just getting stronger. I believe I was able to score a few divisions earlier. And it's tough at this stage with these athletes and how great they are. But in that particular grouping, obviously Amanda making it here, she was just a little bit stronger, a little bit cleaner, a little bit more focused across the board there, and completely earned this. So you're seeing why at home.
A highlight of the kata, that low spinning side kick, placing the hands on the ground intentionally and then holding that position, a very difficult position to maintain balance in. Well done by Duarte. And a key difference that you notice between the strategy for a lot of the female traditionalists versus the males. The males, like we talked about with Matthew and Adam Baum, trying to go for more of that power snap, explosiveness. The ladies, certainly capable of packing a punch as well, but you'll see an extra emphasis on the beauty and grace that a kata can bring. You got to have both to be successful, but you often see certain competitors try to lean into one or the other.
Sure. Especially if that's where their better execution lies.
And how about these last couple of 13 under competitors coming up here with the same poise that their older counterparts have? Just beautifully done by both of them, and especially this performance by Amanda Duarte.
Absolutely. Great job, Amanda. Be proud of that. The audience giving her a lot of love.
Let's give it up for Amanda
Very nice.
Duarte.
Great focus throughout. Great job, Miss Amanda. And we have one more competitor in this division. As we mentioned, Miss Sofia Rodriguez Flores is back to the stage.
Sofia Rodriguez Flores.
Well, looky here. Might have been a reason that was mentioned earlier. Might not have been so surprised. Here we go. Sofia is on stage with black pants and a different top. Guess what you're about to see?
I think we're about to eat our words, Joey, is what's about to happen. I think she has switched up the strategy, and like I said, this could be the shock factor that's going to help her win a Warrior Cup. It's a risk. It's a risky decision, but it very well may be the right decision.
I'm pretty excited to see this.
Well, and I believe that she's intending on doing a hybrid. I watched her in the eliminations. This could be a hybrid, traditional and extreme form.
Yes.
And we see the traditional movements here at the start.
Did we set that up well or what? Great job, Sofia.
And here's the intro. I mentioned her old ace kata, Kishimoto. This is the beginning of Kishimoto right here.
The audience will never believe we didn't know, sir.
And now, right into the extreme. Throwing those fast hands, hitting clean stances at the same time. Now about to mix in some tricking.
Oh,
right
with
into
a
the
540.
side swipe.
Nice. Yes.
Side swipe being a
advanced
540 kick,
yes.
inverting, leaning backwards.
Love it.
Beautiful side kick there from Sofia.
Very nice. Taking your time on the techniques, set up, wanting to be as clean as possible. Nice.
Cartwheel flash kick. And now we're going to go right back into some of the traditional kata. Just a great display of her versatility as a competitor.
Wow.
Traditional forms, extreme forms. She also competes in weapons. She competes in point sparring. Sofia Rodriguez-Flores can do it all, and she proves it with that performance.
She sure does. There might have been a hint to this earlier this weekend, and thankfully they made a post where maybe I caught wind, and absolutely love the fact that that was executed and completed for the show. Great job, guys. Sofia brought that little bit of a different touch. Is it going to make a difference to the judges? When you watch that and didn't expect it, I can guarantee you those judges in those chairs did not either. How does that going to be reflected?
Well, and that's what makes the strategy so difficult for Sofia, because on one hand, she's capable of winning a Warrior Cup in this field with her traditional kata alone.
Yes.
So do you try to win it by just out-traditionaling everybody else? Because that is certainly a viable game plan.
Right.
Or do you go for the surprise factor? Obviously, against other very formidable traditional competitors, clearly the two older competitors, probably the favorites if there was betting odds on this sport, right?
That's
Matthew Grusha, very formidable. But also, he went at the beginning of the division. How did that play into the strategy?
Right.
Like I said, so many levels of decision-making to go into this.
Absolutely. Absolutely great junior Warrior Cup final there. Great traditional presentations, and Sofia with the remix at the end. So let's see what the judges thought. Here we go. Scores for Matthew.
9.98, 9.99, 9.98, 9.97, 9.99, 9.99, and 9.99.
Yes, it is.
I believe at this point, Sofia would likely need to pull a 10 in order to get the win.
That is possible. 49.86 for the Atom Bomb. That's right.
These young ones, we're seeing them get some lower scores right now, except Amanda
she
Duarte
did
getting a
pull a
9.99 in there. So congratulations to her for that, but they'll have their chances at redemption.
There's no doubt. Future is very bright in this sport. All right, scores for Sofia. That's a total of 49.90. She also pulled a few nines.
Nines and a total score of 49.93 for Matthew Grusha of Top 10 Team USA, taking home a Warrior Cup.
All the way to Canada, right? Great job, Matthew. And all of those great athletes. Stephen Ratton to the stage, I think for the first time tonight with Hunter Lyon to present that award. Stephen works so hard all throughout the weekend, well, everywhere that he goes in any event, and is always so respectful. Great to see him up there. He's done a great job over the weekend, as well as all of the AK Warrior Cup staff. Behind the scenes, a lot of terrific people making this happen. All right, congratulations once again to Matthew Grusha from Toronto, Ontario. Great job, and that was a wonderful division with a little surprise at the end. Got us excited here at the end of the evening. I love it. But we're not done yet. We have the Adult Forums Warrior Cup Final, sponsored by Dan Wolf and Toyota of Naperville. We appreciate the support. In fact, speaking of Naperville, I believe if you are in the local area, please drop in and see Sharky at Sharky's Karate in Naperville. We would love to take care of you and any of your family martial art needs.
And consistently, the main event of the evening here at the AK Warrior Cup, the Adult Forms Warrior Cup Final. Dozens at Mullins. We're talking about Craig Henningsen. We're talking about Mike Chat, Micah Cars, Justin Chang. We're talking about some of these champions that have come from this school over the years, kicking off this grand championship in Salif Solis. He'll be matched up against Gabrielle Rudolph, Kevin Kowalczyk, Mason Stowell, and Haley Glad. Gets that Warrior Cup placed with his nameplate in Sharky's Karate Studios? Or will an outsider come in and win a Warrior Cup?
They've got a chance over the last year. He's doing so many great opportunities he has with his talent. Glad to see him this weekend. So if you're at home, some of the most creative extreme combinations and flows you will see in the game. From Elgin, Illinois, he's 20 years old, representing Team AKA. Enjoy Salif. Only gets more complicated as it goes along. Watching him earlier, I really thought the most difficult things were over, and it kept getting further. So you're in for a show.
Right into that lightning fast hand combo, so unique.
Wow.
Big full snafu. That's a full twist, a kick followed by another full twist, all in the middle of a backflip. And it's such a unique combination of martial arts techniques, mixing in throws, probably a little bit of kempo. Really a lot of techniques that he would use in the stunt industry, mixing it into his form.
Yes.
Then the shuriken cutter, a backflip off one foot with 2 twists and 2 hook kicks. That's how crazy that move was.
And it's not just about the crazy flips and tricks. You watch it and you get obviously so invested in that, but the creativity of his flow and combinations is very unlike many other competitors. Very unique.
And Salif Solis brings the house down to lay down the gauntlet for his opponents in this Adult Warrior Cup final.
Going first is usually not where you want to be, but if you can set that bar, everybody's got to try to reach it.
To the stage, representing Team Paul Mitchell Karate, 24-year-old Gabrielle Rudolph.
All right, so Miss Gabrielle Rudolph back to the stage from Bethel, Connecticut, and a little bit all over, chasing you, I believe. She's 24 years old, Team Paul Mitchell. I say chasing, that's actually not the right word. I know that she is running things in many other
If anybody
ways.
was chasing, it was me.
Yes, sir. I was trying not to throw that on you, sir. But yes, very, very much love for the wife there, as you should be. Miss Gabrielle, as you watched earlier, fantastic performer, very talented, kicking, power, grace, pose. You're going to see that here. Earlier, it was a Korean pattern. What are we going to see with this?
So here Gabrielle is running the kata that she considers to be her ace right now. She's got other kata in the works. This is going to be Kishimoto.
Say Gabrielle is one of the competitors over the years that has consistently improved the quality of her techniques and her diversity. Family-owned martial arts studio growing up there. Give a shout out to Steve Doyen, by the way. Great job. And all of her other family members. They're all martial artists, including Grandma. So
Grandma's a martial artist. Mom's a martial artist. Her dad, Jeff Dunn, owns a school in New Jersey.
And Gabrielle's a great example of that. And you're seeing her perform here, super smooth, fluid, just like the Korean pattern. But, of course, as you said, one of her ace katas. So she's bringing that game and has great stage presence at all times.
So far, so good for Gabrielle. Obviously, I know every single movement in this form, watching her train it in preparation for this event. Everything according to plan thus far. Beautiful balance on that technique. It's a big part of her strategy with this kata, is trying to show off that balance. You saw it at the beginning of the form, now here in the middle. Judges typically consider the later in the form these balance techniques are shown to be more difficult.
Yes.
The legs start to become more
which is very different. So to be able to show that flexibility in different moves highlights the kata and that skill.
A strong finish on that last punch and ki for Gabrielle Rudolph as she brings her rendition of Kishimoto to a close in her bid for a Warrior Cup.
Great job, Gabrielle. Very smooth. You will see her at many of the World Tour events in the NASCAR circuit and a few of the Pro-Mac events. She's always at the Destin Open in May, giving seminar, giving back, as we've talked about many of these athletes, including yourself, always giving back to the next generation. So we appreciate that from Gabrielle. So the third competitor out of 5 in this division, as you mentioned earlier, he's to the stage. He's from Littleton, Colorado. He's 39 years old, but moves like he's 20 most of the time, and you'll see why. He's representing Team AKA Kevin Kowalczyk, and that is also a family game. He has his son, who is a dynamo. Watched him earlier as well. Here we go. Kevin not only is a great sport martial artist, he's a school owner and a full contact fighter. He's also participated in Karate Combat League, as we mentioned earlier. Great talent all the way around, great coach, and he's going to be doing Looks like an extreme form here for us. And even at 39 years old, you will see him moving quite a bit like the younger generation was.
And an interesting part of his strategy here, he actually lost his voice from some of the yelling that he was doing in his performances at the tournament. He said he could have done traditional or extreme in this final, but he wanted some music playing because he's not able to project with his yells like he normally would. So he's like, I'm going to go extreme against these young guys.
I think that was a smart move, and I understand that with the voice. Kevin opens up with a huge double leg a moment ago, which not as much twisting in that, but it's certainly not as easy as he made it look.
He's made a few comments this weekend about this potentially being a last ride. Looking to go out with a bang here. Great high speed on the hand combinations to get things going right into some tricking. Backside 9, hook, 540, the lazy boy 540 with the hands behind the head. A little bit of showmanship.
I think you've got to bring that. At our age group, we've got to overcome the youth, right? So he's bringing it. Of course, he's super youthful. Some of my generation would say he's a young man, and he's certainly moving like it. Great job, Kevin. Oh, little callback, little Carmichael Simon-esque cross pattern there. I love it.
You're going to be in the senior division. You got to show him a little old school flair.
Yes, you do. I love every moment of that. Great tornado to knee to end. And Kevin ends center of stage and strong. Great job, sir. Always intense and very rarely off his game. So great job, sir. Excellent. All right, so we mentioned this in the show opener. I'm always excited to see Mason, also from the Littleton, Colorado area, uniquely. 21 years old, a top 10 Team USA member. Mason will 100% be demonstrating a traditional form, and we're better for it. Because
Joey,
he's certainly
do
one
you
of the
know
best.
what I would give to see Mason Stillwell do extreme right now?
Well,
real
was
sport
really,
karate nerds.
really good at extreme.
Real sport karate nerds know that a few years ago, his extreme form was out of this world. Some of the techniques that we're talking about that competitors are throwing now at the top of their game, Mason Stillwell was ahead of his time throwing some of those tricks. However, an Olympic caliber athlete when it comes to his traditional kata.
Yes.
He's working his way up through the ranks, and I'm certain being a member of that Team USA for the Olympic team is in his future. He's already been on Team USA for a number of other traditional events. If you want to dive more into that, certainly talk to Mason, his coach is Jarrett Liker, and dive into that world. Obviously here on the NASCAR World Tour, a little bit more of an open circuit. We welcome a little bit of everything, and that happens to include traditional, of course, as we like to respect where our roots are from. But Mason Stillwell, able to be successful in a lot of different arenas within the martial arts.
As a junior, he was always one of the top extreme competitors and always puts on a show. Quebec Open finals a few years back when he still competed in those divisions comes to mind. One of the best performances I think I've seen from him. Super talented, and we're going to get the best of it right here. Mason Stillwell.
And when you're making predictions about who's going to win a Warrior Cup, it's always smart to know who's been there before. Mason Stillwell has been there, done that. He's got experience on this stage. Has Warrior Cups himself. I believe it is plural. I need somebody to fact check me on that. I believe he's won multiple Warrior Cups. And if he hasn't, he's going to try to make it plural.
He's going to try to make it happen now. Definitely leaning on the moment on stage here. You know, the timing, you know, his presence of, you know, and as he's easing into the kata, executing at the level much higher than most are used to seeing. Great job. And there's always room. You never know. You know, no matter what level athlete you are, good or bad, you've got to be able to perform when it's showtime. Mason very rarely disappoints, as you're seeing. Excellent focus.
One thing that impresses me so much about Stillwell is his patience. You see, he's able to hit some of these positions, and a lot of competitors, especially on stage, they get into a position and they feel some sort of pressure. And I don't mean pressure of the moment, but I mean a pressure to get to the next thing, to get to that big part of the form. But Mason does such a good job of controlling his pace and letting those little moments simmer just a little bit longer. Let everybody settle, let everybody appreciate what it is that he's doing, and the next thing you know, bam, right into the next technique.
That's right. And the explosion, when he does decide to go a little faster, I guess that would be maybe a good description if you weren't as used to seeing it. When you see him go fast or slow movement, there's so many reasons for that, when and why. But just that sequence prior to this exchange here, he did have left-right movement very quick, which is unlike the rest of the kata, but it stood out in that moment, and it was so powerful.
You hear the crowd getting into it once again, the spirit clap as Mason Stowell approaches the closing moments. Big moment there, beautiful jump front kick into that low stance. And the intensity too. Sometimes you see traditional kata competitors a little bit more conservative with their intensity just because there's so few yells throughout the forms. But Mason does such a good job of pulling every ounce of intensity that he can out of each one of those big moments. Beautifully done for Mason Stowell.
Absolutely took advantage of the moment on stage. Had this crowd captivated throughout. We'll see how that translates to judges' scores and what our other competitors coming up. Our last competitor, Miss Haley Glass, coming up next. We'll see what she brings to the table here. So what a great fun. Our fifth and final competitor in this division, representing Team Paul Mitchell. The drop earlier took away a little bit from us getting to see her potential. She has nothing. Glass.
Like we discussed earlier, managing a right knee strain, but it looks healthy on that first trick. A big X out to get things going.
Haley always brings the energy, the power, the intensity, quality of technique. Just always goes for it. Love that energy. And comes out guns blazing, so to speak.
One thing that makes Haley special is the extension and the power on all of those basics. And then, of course, the flips and tricks, as you see right there, adding the difficulty. Full twist to the knee into the closing moments of the form. Our final competitor of the evening, trying to send us out with a bang. And Haley Glass turning to the back, lots of intensity, a fist to the sky to close out this adult forms Warrior Cup final. Before we get the scores from the judges, let's hear one more word from Royal Caribbean, where Haley is one of their performers.
Competitors, please return to the stage for scoring.
All right, thank you once again to Royal Caribbean.
What did you guys
Appreciate
think
all
about
their
that division?
support. And this division was fantastic. What a final.
All comes down to this.
Such diversity with the performances. Let's see what the judges thought. I think they just about have all the tabulations in there. Bringing out the legendary Warrior Cup, the final one of the evening.
This is one of the most prestigious awards you can
As Reed
earn.
is making sure everybody in the house understands, and we certainly do. What a big accomplishment. Great job to all these athletes. Again, winning multiple divisions or different divisions throughout the weekend to qualify, winning championships, grand championships to get here. So winning against other winners. So this is the ultimate. Let's see what the scores are for Salah. 49.9.
Got 4 nines.
which represents 4
nines
nines,
might be
which
enough.
means unless we see some 10s somewhere else, that's going to be our winner.
Big smiles on the AKA faithful. I always get nervous when too many people are too excited after the first set of scores.
Well, that's true.
He very well could have it. He very well could have it.
Because it very well could happen. Well said, understated. 49.85 from Miss Gabrielle Rudolph. Excellent performance there. One of our women champions of the weekend. Good job, ma'am. And Kevin's scores.
9.97.
You hear them ringing out there from Mr. Reed. It's 49.85 is the total for Kevin.
Here's a big moment here. Mason Stowell needs 10s.
This
He
is going to
needs
tell
at
us.
least 110 to win it.
At least 110, maybe even 2 off of that, depending on numbers. Let's see if he gets them.
9.99. 9.97.
There is a
Pull
10, but he's got a
110.
couple 7s. Oh, this is going to be close, Joey. A 49.92.
And 9797, 49.92.
No matter how you slice it, though, those scores are really, really close, but Salif has a 1-point advantage, or a 1/100th of a point advantage,
Wow.
I should say. What's crazy here is that Stowell got the 10 that he needed.
He did.
But
He
it
also
looks
got 2
like we'd have to
7s.
compare the judges, but Haley Glass being able to get a couple of 8s here.
Yes.
Mason Stowell getting 7s in those spots.
Absolutely.
I believe it was in those spots. We'll have to go back and look and cross-match everything.
Right.
But he is your 2024
Wow.
Adult Forms Warrior Cup champion.
Wow, look at that. It's to take out the high and low score, which is why we said, hey, you need a 10 or you need certain second or third places there to make that happen. Absolutely unbelievable promoter. It means so much to him. So we're going to go to the highlights here in just a second as he's getting his award and hopefully show you guys or even talk about some of the extra highlights from the weekend. Obviously, what we just watched was right there at the top of the list. Do you think the judges got that? Great job, Salif. So again,
Salif Salih writing his name in the Team AK history books, joining the likes Pinto, Chang, Hewer, Mullins, Henningsen, going all the way back. So many of these Team AK members that have graced the stage in this exact Forms Warrior Cup final. Now, Salih is added to that list. He is a Warrior Cup champion. We see the loving embrace from Sensei Sharky there. There's just nothing like it.
competition here in Chicago for this year's AKA Warrior Cup Finals on behalf of the American Karate Association President and Vice President Event Directors John Sharkey, Hunter Lyon. We'd like to thank our broadcast sponsors, Royal Caribbean, Century Martial Arts. We would also like to thank the President of the Professional Martial Arts Conference, Ms. Holly Ham from Destin, for sponsoring our Women's Fighting Grand Championship earlier. And for Reed Presley at Stage Side, my man Jackson Rudolph beside me, I'm Joey Perry. We hope to see all of you back home here in Chicago for the 2025 AKA Warrior Cup and beyond that out on the circuit. Please remember to hit the link below, follow, and share. You can rewatch the show. We would love your feedback, and we hope to see you here next year. Thank you so much.
For all in attendance, please give it up for Team